Hey everybody.
Woo!
Hey Chris, what are you doing down there?
Woo!
Why don't you
I decided to drop in.
join us here? Here we go.
This is my relaxed position. Great success.
Hello, yeah, great success. We have successfully launched Earth space into space.
Yes, goals have been made.
Yes, the goal has been met. Well, I'm going to stop doing silly voices. I did when I was doing the live stream on Saturday. Maybe I'll turn that off because
You offended some Kazakhstani people.
well, I started going on full on Irish for a little while. I just was losing my mind a little bit, and I took a break, and I came back, and I started talking to Dale, who was helping me co-host, and
Did he talk you out of your Irish hallucinations? Did he talk?
no, not really. Like, unfortunately, I couldn't hear anything he was saying at the time, so I just kept going for quite a long time before I realised he probably should have been stopping me.
Hey,
I went into some other accents as well. But,
you got some mad distortion going on.
Okay, I'm doing it again. All right.
I know that's your thing.
This is the story.
I know it's your trademark.
Okay, I'm going to turn the sound right down there. Okay.
You know what occurred
What if
to
I
me?
sit here? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. I think you cannot. I think you don't hear yourself. Like I don't feel like you're monitoring yourself. If you were, you'd hear all this, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
"Whoa."
Okay.
So
now this Kickstarter's funded.
this Kickstarter is 100%. It's 100 and maybe 2% funded. Even
I'm going to invest in proper. I'm going to take that a little bit extra, and I'm going to invest it in some proper monitor headphones.
I thought you were gonna like invest it in Bitcoin. That's what I would do, but that's probably against Kickstarter's rules.
I've had a number of offers to have my art, to people who buy my art, if only I will pay to have it converted into an NFT.
Really? You have to pay for so you have to pay for the conversion, but then they'll buy it from you.
Yeah.
Are you willing to name names? Are you willing to go on record to embarrass these people?
Well, I'll call them Dickhead 99's, New Delhi. Or some part of the world, I don't know. Look, I don't want to be mean. Look, people have got to do what they got to do. And
why don't you just?
We're all scammers. Scammers going to scam.
Oh, you're saying it was a straight up scam. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Well, isn't the whole of NFTs a scam? I don't know.
Well, I thought what you were saying is like you knew people personally, and they said, I would buy this as an NFT. But you're talking about people that basically cold called you or cold interneted you, and said, "Hey, if you convert this to an NFT, I'll pay you for it."
Their name might be like sort of Grandma Sexy, and she's got like a dog. It's like picture of her dog and herself.
Oh, you got to trust her.
And her car, a house, like three sort of unrelated pictures, but might just about convince somebody they had a life. And that they just joined Instagram. And now they've joined Instagram, what they've decided to do is message every artist they can find. And say, hey, I love your art, why don't you convert it into an NFT? But I'll only buy it if it's an NFT.
Sometimes when you get to the party late, you try to party extra hard. All these grandmas and all these silver foxes they're just finding Instagram and Facebook and been wanting to support artists for a decade now with NFTs, and finally the floodgates have opened. So it sounds legit to me.
Yeah, somewhere there's all these upset Nigerian princes sort of going like, why won't anyone take my money?
That's the new Nigerian prince right there.
Yes, the new Nigerian prince is some sort of NFT scam on artists. They particularly, well, we won't get into that, but, artists are vulnerable because they're empathic, emotional, trusting people.
Also, they like compliments.
And we like compliments, no one pays much attention to anything we do, so... that's my new mission: is to drive all the snakes out of America. That's my. I'm just driving all the snakes out of the USA, like St. Patrick did out of Ireland. I'm going to drive all the snakes out of the USA. That's my mission. Now that Earth Space is funded, just to get me, if anybody else wants to give me any extra money today, I'm going to dedicate it all to driving the snakes out of the USA.
I don't
know where they're going to go. They'll go into the sea or into Canada, or probably most likely into Mexico. But South America, like Brazil. They'll go to Brazil with all the other Nazis. No, I don't know what's going on in Brazil. I'm sure there's no Nazis in Brazil anymore.
There's just like Nazi grandchildren in Brazil. That's all.
There is a Hitler family that lives in the USA. Hitler's family were relocated here.
Shouldn't they change their name or something?
I believe that. I mean, I believe they did change their name. Yes, I don't think they go around by Hitler, but maybe they do because, like, who would think? You say, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Hitler. You just come here from Germany." After the war, well, it was difficult living there with a name like Hitler. Yeah, I can imagine. But welcome to the USA.
So you're saying they should keep the name because no one would guess that they were ever connected to Hitler? Because if they were, they would have changed it. Like, there's no way there's a connection.
Yeah, no one would believe that they actually still called themselves Hitler.
I mean, I know a guy.
What are those Hitlers?
I know a guy from school. His name is Kennedy, and I've known him for like 10 years, and not once have I ever asked him if he's connected to the Kennedys.
Well, there's two people. Yes, there's two people at Goodman Games that I want to ask them, and I haven't.
Are they Kennedys or Hitlers?
No, at Goodman Games, there's the artist Chris Arnson. He's a good guy. Chris, I don't know if you're watching. I'll say your name, Chris Arnson, because sometimes like now the AI can hear me and it'll translate me, and it'll, like Facebook will like message him and say, "Hey, Chris Arnson, like Chuck Wheeler's mentioning you.
You've been tagged
at minute 15." But Chris Arnson, like he's got the same name as Dave Arnson, who was like the co-creator of D&D, so I have to like know that. And then there's Matt Hildebrand, who's the art director. He's got the same name as the brothers Hildebrand, who are sort of famous sort of Tolkien illustrators and other things, but they have quite a distinctive style that's quite well recognized.
I worked with the Hildebrand, who is a scientist, and I did not know the right questions to ask him. I did not know to ask him the question, are you related to any illustrators of Dungeons and Dragons? Is that the question?
Well, yes, I don't know. The Hildebrands probably did some work on D&D, but they were a bit above that level. They were sort of earlier generation, so they were well known. They became sort of famous for their Tolkien calendars, and but then they went on and did all sorts of sci-fi and pulp fantasy covers and stuff like that. Yeah, so they're two brothers, and they do separate pieces together. I have a book that's just by Tim Hildebrand, which is mostly just bits that he did, I think. And he talks a lot about like the light and stuff like that, but their styles are very similar. They really kind of would paint together, but their books are very interesting if you're like sort of interested in old school painting, because they would like talk about hiring models and like posing the models, and they worked out of their sort of barn.
Sounds like a good.
I think.
Did they get Me Too'd already, or are they still waiting for that?
Well, I don't know where people think of them now. I mean, I think if you're like for some people, like they were quite influenced by Disney's Pinocchio. So have you ever seen Disney's Pinocchio, which is actually one of the better Disney films overall? I mean, it's got some really dark stuff in it, which I love. They were quite influenced by that, and so there's some people think they're a bit Disney-fied. They Disney-fy Tolkien a bit, but I think that's a little harsh. I think they do, but in a good way.
I want to see all this dark stuff come back. Like, when I was little, fairy tales were pleasant tales for children. And then when I got older, I realized that they were actually these horrible things that scared the crap out of kids. I want to see more of that stuff come back. Like the anti-Disney.
Yeah, the Brothers Grimm. Like, well, that was Disney's great genius, though, is he knew, like, to make these a successful commercial product in America, you needed to remove like the bits like Snow. I think it was Snow White. I can't remember one of them, or Cinderella. Like, I think Cinderella. Yeah. At the end, the punishment for the witch was to dance at the wedding in red-hot iron boots until she fell down dead. Now Disney, he's like, we're going to leave that bit out for the kids. We make it quite scary, because my dad, like, he talks about seeing Snow White and being very terrified of the witch. But it's nowhere near as terrifying as what the actual Grimm's fairy tales would do to the witch.
That's real medieval. That's like what Quentin Tarantino would call medieval on that witch's buttocks. I mean, that's probably a real thing from some dark period of European history.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another bit about like where a prince has like 3 iron bands around his heart. And they're like, like you think of them as like physical iron bands that he has around his heart. Like, what's that about?
Yeah, what is that about? It all goes back to torture, ladies and gentlemen. Perfected in the darker periods of time in Europe.
Oh yeah, they had an exhibit when I was in Italy. It was a sort of exhibit of all the medieval torture. I think I was with some friends and some of them went to see it. I didn't go see it. I saw some pictures. I don't need to sit there and imagine like all those fucking torture.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it either. I remember the first time somebody used the term like thumb screws, and they were just using it, in casual conversation, and they're basically just saying they're putting a lot of pressure on us. And it took me a while to realize that thumb screws were a real thing.
Yeah. Yes. So like, why torture yourself? Go back a copy of Earth Space Kickstarter. I don't know. We funded. Thank you so bloody much, everybody. I can't believe it. Oh my god. Oh my god. I asked for quite a lot. We still got a day to go till tomorrow, but you guys really came through for me. Everybody came through, and it really means a lot. It's a big project. It's a big thing. That's the most I've asked for on Kickstarter. It was a big one, and I'm really pleased that it's done. And I'm really, I've got a lot of work to do now, especially like I'm going away for a few days, but then next week I'm going to have to get this whole CD together, like the packaging. Like I'm going to do. I've got to put a whole booklet together next week of the packaging. I've sort of got it in my head, but I need to get lyrics off people. I better send out an email asking people for lyrics. I've got some of them. I don't need all of them. I put some of them.
It's platinum leafed. It comes in a cedar box. It's gorgeous. It's
not quite there yet, but it's going to be a 3-page fold out. So it'll be like the disc and then 2 leaves, and then there's a pocket, and in the pocket there's a little booklet, like an 8-page booklet.
And so the plan is to put all the lyrics in there from all this great music.
It doesn't have to be all of them. I remember like CDs, they didn't always have all the lyrics, and a lot of the songs are instrumental. I sort of did them as instrumentals to go. But the ones that do, I'd like to get in at least some of them. Yeah.
Like you probably don't need to reprint the 3. You probably only need to print the chorus one time.
Yeah. So I'll figure out like how to do it, but that's actually quite a bit of work that I'm really giving myself next week to. Get that, and I have to do it in about a week in order to have that all ready, and we're going to need all the songs and hopefully the mastering's all together. Thomas, like Mark, my neighbour who wrote Lonely Day in Raintown music, Thomas gave him 3 different masters. Thomas was talking about giving him 2, but he gave him 3, and Mark though.
Every time you give someone a master, it extends things by a month.
I know. So now he's like, well, yeah, I've got to listen to those.
It's funny. He's going to listen to him, and he's going to be like, yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and 2 times 3 of the third. Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, it sounds good already. I think, we're just like refining it. So.
All right. Shall I play Raw Dog for the people?
Oh yeah, we should play Raw Dog.
Because I'm thinking this is a practice for our radio show.
Oh, cool.
When we actually go on the radio, we want to like talk about the album. We want to play the songs.
Cool.
Of the album.
I can do like VH1 storytellers on Raw Dog. And by storytellers, I mean I'll just make stuff up. Like I think the real VH1 storytellers was like people were supposed to tell the real story behind the song, but I'd like to have another version of it where it was like. Storytellers, just people that make stuff up. It's interesting to listen to, but they just make it all up, Like when I co-wrote, I guess that's why they call it The Blues with Elton John, Chris Porro's Storytellers.
Well, that's what's going on in this book. I mean, I think I've got some meaning and message in some of my stories. I mean, you're like, oh, you don't think any story should have any meaning or message.
What? I didn't say that.
Well,
who said that? Who are you talking about? Who? What?
Well, no, you. I think you were talking about like children's books, and you were getting a bit tired. No, you didn't say no story should have a meaning or message. I think you were getting a little bit tired of children's books having meanings and message. And Dale was talking a bit about children's book for grown-ups. So this is a bit like sort of a children's book for grown-ups in a way. But I think children will quite like it too. But there might be a few things in there that if you're a conservative parent, you might be like, oh, I don't really want my kids to look.
I misunderstood.
I don't think it's anything that bad.
Yeah, I misunderstood what you said. I thought you were saying that I didn't believe in narratives, but you're just saying that you don't believe in like having, like I don't believe in having an over-the-top moral in children's books, and that's true. I don't believe that you have to come out of every story with like, well, that's bad. This is good. This is how you should run things. And I really think it's really just about engaging kids, as simple as that, as simple and as difficult as that is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things that sounds, it sounds like a very simple goal. But when you state it, but in actuality, to engage a child is actually super difficult, especially with all this other stuff.
Well, a lot of my stories do have a moral, and here's the thing: like, I like Aesop's fables a lot. You can't really beat those, and I'm always thinking about those. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the man with his coat. The sun and the wind have a bet about taking the man's coat off, and make the man take the coat off. And the wind bets the sun that he can do it, and he blows and blows and blows, and the more he blows, the more the man holds his coat on, and then the sun comes out and shines on the man, and the man takes his coat off. And his Aesop's fables are like sort of very simple at their most basic level, and they can be elaborated on or not, and they've lasted through all these years. And that's really the standard that you have to try and do better than. If you're going to write a children's story, if it's not better than Aesop's fables, then don't bother.
When I hear that story, I'm basically like, the moral of the story is whoever has the right tool for the job is going to win. Like, I feel that's like...
Well, I think the moral is that, you sort of shine warmly like the sun down, and the man will take his coat off. But if you huff and you blow like the wind, the man just clings onto his coat more tightly.
But, yeah, I mean, that's like the first takeaway. But then when I thought about it a second time, I'm like, that's not really what's going on, because the wind is never going to make somebody's coat come off. Like, that's the wrong tool for the job.
Yeah,
the right tool for the job is the sun. So I know it's supposed to be like, the moral is supposed to be like...
Well, there's some hubris of the wind. The wind and the sun have a character. The sun is sort of calm, and, the wind's all like kind of boasty.
It's kind of like you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. But yeah. I'd say, first off, who wants to catch flies? And second of all, no, I mean, it's kind of like the positive. It's like sticks versus carrots, right? Carrots. It's kind of like that, right? Although I can't see how the wind could ever win that thing. The wind is just going to lose that every single time. He's going to be like, unless he's blowing hot breezes up under the man's coat.
What if it was a hat? What if it's a coat and a hat? You've got to blow up the hat. All right, well, Aesop didn't think that one through very well, but, the point is... Look, I'm going to play Raw Dog, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to try and do some drawing, because...
I'd be terrible...
that's what we're here for. All right, so does that...
Raw Dog, I agree.
Does that sound good? All right, here's Raw Dog. I'll leave us on...
Something.
They call me little, I got my head in the clouds. I like them knee-high sports socks and paint in the town. I don't give no fucks what people think about me. I like that raw dog style, I'll be digging the deep. I like that raw dog style, I like that raw dog. I like that raw dog style, I like that deep. I like that raw dog style, I like that raw dog. I like that raw dog, I'll be digging the deep. Hot dog, warm bun, mustard ketchup relish, put it on me fellas. Hot dog, warm bun, mustard ketchup relish, put it on me fellas.
Take a pee, walk a dog, ride a donkey. Eat a prune, throw a poo like a monkey. I can see me and you doing wrong things, fun things, some things, everything, one thing. I can't deny. You come out and you make me smile. Go all night with a D that's reckless. Keep it up, it'll make you breakfast.
Get wet like a bath with a beaver. Bustin' up Peter Pan, have a seizure. Pitch a pup tent when I'm near her. Listen to the dog in my pants, can you hear?
I like that raw dog style. I like that raw dog. I like that raw dog style. I like that D. I like that raw dog style. I like that raw dog. I like that raw dog. I'll be digging the D. By D I mean dick, just in case you didn't know what the D standed for. Standing is standing for dick.
They call me Mead Chris. I'm not big, I'm not little. Just a trailblazing G. I got a lock on the middle. I don't give no fucks, I give a few, not too many. All my parts are consistent. For most girls, that's plenty. And by consistent, I mean medium. It's not a passport into the porn industry, but it is also not something that you want to giggle at. Girls, you get what you get, and you don't get upset. I meet Chris.
They call me little, I got my head in the clouds. I like them knee-high sports socks and paint in the town. I don't give no fucks what people think about me. I like that raw dog style, I'll be digging the deep. I like that raw dog style, I like that raw
Hey there. So I'm having some trouble setting up my camera.
As the kids say, that's a clapper. Is it a clapper or a slapper? I think it's a slapper.
A slapper?
It's a slapper or a clapper?
A thigh slapper?
Somebody who's watching the show, please tell me which one it is.
In England, a slapper. Well, I don't know. That's probably not a good term.
Hey, let's keep it family oriented.
Like if you call someone a slapper,
let's not go blue so early.
My camera's gone wobbly here. I've got a really bad jig for my camera. I need a better jig for it. For some reason it's not.
Can the audience see your jig? Is there any way to show the audience
your losing its mojo?
Effective jig?
It's gone all wobbly. It's lost its mojo.
Oh no. We need to put up a technical difficulties type of thing and like some still art, you know. Oh, we should put up that that confused dinosaur that like the Mozilla browser does when there's technical problems. They confuse or the Twitter bird, like trying to lift the whale. We should put that.
Your buddy Elon Musk's gone and done it now.
Oh, well, he's gone and done it for the last 10 years, it turns out. He's always gone and done it. What did he do now, Chuck? Tell me.
Well, he's gone. He's decided he's changing the name. Him. He said he's changing the name of Twitter to X.
He's not
But apparently, like Facebook owned that trademark.
Facebook did?
Yeah, they own the trademark of like.
We'll
X
see what the courts say, Zuckerberg. We'll see you in court, or we'll see you on the jiu-jitsu mat, Zuckerberg. Did you see that thing for a while? I think you told me about it. It was like Elon and Mark Zuckerberg were going to do some type of like MMA.
Yeah, I wasn't. That sounded stupid. I didn't pay any attention to that whatsoever.
It did sound stupid, and I thought it would never happen. But then I saw on social media for about a week or maybe more after that, Zuckerberg and Musk both were training with some, of course, whoever they train with is going to be a badass. It doesn't matter if they're making a clay pot or they're jiu-jitsu experts, but they were both training with like real serious jiu-jitsu instructors. But then, they give you like the best takes where they actually look like they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. My guess is their brains are too valuable to get into any type of physical confrontation with anybody. They'll be like, if I dent my brain, I'm going to lose like $3 billion. You know what I mean? Like if I dent my brain, I might be like late for a meeting a couple times. Yeah. But if they dent their brain, they're going to lose like $3 billion.
Wait.
Not saying my brain shouldn't be valued as much.
No, well, I value your brain.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done any of this without you, so I don't know what that says about your brain, but
Chuck values my brain appropriately. But I think Facebook and I think like Facebook and X people or whatever Elon's a part of, they value those brains a little bit more than mine. But I appreciate your support, Chuck.
I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna see if I can switch this camera to. What if I do that? Okay.
What were you asking
that's
me?
Weird. Okay, there I am.
Oh wow, it's like you're now in a. Oh, now you've got like a fog, like angelic fog around you.
Yeah, this is the camera from the laptop.
Oh, can we see your defective jig?
Well, no, the other camera's sort of on top of it. I don't know, but then it's like it's if I'm drawing, it's right in my face. Maybe I can put this so that it's.
I just want to apologize to anybody watching. Like? If I built this jig footage up too much, you're probably never going to see it. I can tell you that right now.
I mean, if I'm here drawing, it's like.
Now, Chuck, I understand that you've been recently inspired by a song, and you are now going to draw for us a raw dog.
Well, I was going to draw sort of sexy space lady.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Ooh. I haven't drawn anything in a while. I've been like so busy working on a Kickstarter that I haven't really had
bet
time
you
to
have.
draw anything.
Actually, like I'm just like peripherally involved in terms of like workload, and even I'm like relieved. When I saw you made it yesterday, I guess I was like, "Yay!" And I was like, yay! I don't have to like hound people.
Yeah.
Although some of that was fun because sometimes it's fun to harass people.
Yeah, it's a good excuse at Kickstarter to like pester everybody, and I'm so appreciative. There's some people that are really cool. I'd like to give a shout out to Joe Abareno. He's a Goodman Games artist. He's been like supporting my work. He does amazing work as well. And he draws sort of cartoony tentacly monsters. He does a lot of sort of similar things that I do, and he's been really great about backing this. And he's got some good projects that you could go and look at and back as well. And so thanks, Joe. I like all these Goodman Games artists. Several of them like back my project, and I really appreciate that. All those guys, that's just really like amazing.
That's super kind. Is that Joe in the picture that you sent me earlier?
No, that was my buddy Steve. So he's a bit of an art collector. So he's the one who really sort of put me over the top today.
Steve knows what he's doing.
He came round to. He came around to take a look. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Hang on. He came around to take a look at
I thought
some of the art, and so he's he was already in for a bit, but yeah, so he actually bought another piece of art off me as well. So,
which can I ask which one, or is that like secret?
He liked We Meet Again. But he also took the Spotty Cat Leopard Girl, which is a smaller one. That wasn't one of the ones I had on the page. But
wait, he didn't take the missing zebra, did he?
No.
Okay.
That was the one.
That was the one. Somebody I know. I was gonna, I didn't know if they were gonna do it or not, but I said, there's this original art, and they asked for the page, and that's why I reached out to you and said, "Where's the page with all this stuff?"
Oh, thank you.
And then if they were going to ask for guidance, I was going to tell them to buy the one that I liked the most, which I think was probably, if it wasn't, the zebra would have been in the top, I think 3 for sure. But that was my go-to because she's just like so cute. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I like that zebra a lot. She's a cutie.
Yeah, I'm glad you like her because she's sort of she was a bit more sort of different sort of figure, and she was sort of cute, and she was nice, and she was vulnerable. She had a nice time, and unfortunately, she was in trouble. She was about to be eaten. She was like posing there by the oasis.
But
it's a predatory. You're looking at that picture from the view of the predator. She's about to be eaten. In that picture, the viewer is the the type or the whatever it is.
Shouldn't there be something?
I described him as a bushy-tailed gentleman, which is Beatrix Potter for Mr. Todd, and the tail of Jemima Puddle Duck, which is always one of my favorites. But
should there have been like a little like overlay in the camera in the corner of that says Tiger Cam and then the date? Like how they have sometimes with like home video, they'll have the little overlay that you'd see in the viewfinder, Tiger Cam.
Tiger Cam, yeah. Well, yes, maybe I'll probably add that. All those videos, I'm sort of adding a little bit more to them, and actually, that's a good thing to add to that one.
Should I ask you all kinds of questions and distract you?
Sure. That's supposed to really come right here.
Oh, what's the real story behind the song "Raw Dog"? I'm glad you asked, Chuck.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about a little.
Everybody wants to know about
Little Wolf comics in Disney, so that name reminds me of that. She was that was Lil.
Well, so there's a lot of Lils in general in the hip hop world. I've noticed,
Yeah.
So there's
Lil Biggie Little.
Lil Kim, Lil I don't know.
And you're Medium Chris.
I'm Mead Chris, yeah, M-E-D.
Mead. I thought it was mean. I thought mean was good because then you're like the mean average, but you're mean because you're mean.
Oh, you thought about it in like that mean and not the like.
I thought it was a deliberate pun. I thought you were doing a deliberate pun. Like I'm mean Chris in that you're mean, but you're also mean. You're the average.
Well, that works as well. What my sister thought I was being it was mean, Chris. I think like as in my
Yeah.
disposition, was mean, and I was like, no, I'm like I'm trying to find my own lane here. Like, there's a lot of lils. The lil lane is crowded.
I think you should make it mean. You're like mean in the average.
They're spelled the same, aren't they? So that's even more confusing.
That's a good use of mean, Chris. That's a good rapper name if you're mean, Chris, because you're mean.
Chris.
You're in the mean. You're mean as
how
the mean.
How confusing that's going to be to people. But I was going to spell it MED apostrophe. Like
mean.
Lil.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
like Lil is LIL apostrophe.
All right.
Or maybe it's I don't know where the apostrophe goes, but there's an apostrophe in there.
I don't really have any objections to that. So.
But I think
that's good too.
People are going to be confused probably that it's like mean, Chris. Even though if you listen to all the lyrics after that, it's pretty clearly not mean, like mean as in disposition, Chris.
I feel like people that are backing the Earth Space Kickstarter are not easily confused.
I feel like we have Chuck. You have a sharper audience.
These are people who know. Yeah.
This is the part of the show where we flatter all the people that have bought the artwork and like the music.
If you're easily confused, this project's probably not for you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part where we flatter the audience and everybody likes it.
Yes. No. Look, there's a lot of easily confused people who like this project. Many of them have backed it. No.
Okay, so I guess we're going to compliment and insult people. So figure out which one you are, and then you can get your appropriate compliment or insult.
Yeah, this project is backed by all types of people from all walks of life. I think. I don't know. Do artists count? I feel like artists count for a lot of different walks of life all at once.
Yeah, I guess they do.
But a lot of artists backed it. A lot of amazing artists backed it, actually.
That's super cool that the people
I really admire.
Yeah, it's super cool that the people at Goodman Games were very backy. I mean,
it was very cool about it. Yes,
kind of in the same boat, right? Like one thing I try to describe to people that aren't artists and don't really know a lot of artists is that what was I going to say here? I think I was going to say I lost my train of thought. Oh, well, I mean, the thing is like you just don't really understand what it's like to, if you haven't ever like tried to develop something like a piece of music or a piece of art or whatever, some creative project. And that usually is deeply personal, and then release it to the public. And do that whole process. It's hard to understand what that is really like. Unless you've done it.
It's part of the process. It is a process. That's what and you just do it, and you have to get better at it. And it's just like, it's part of the process. I didn't, part of why I got into the process was sort of to avoid it in a way. But I don't know. You just sort of learn about it.
I mean, I'm not saying like artists are, like somehow exceptional because they've gone through it. What I'm just saying that like
everybody goes in all sorts of different ways. And
life,
there's
well, I mean, like
to go through things.
If you've never given birth to a child, right, you don't really understand that process. Like, I mean, if you're a man, you're never, or if you're a woman that's never like gone through childbirth, even if you read a bunch of books on it, you can't really understand it. Or if you've gone to war, if you went to war, like. The reason that vets hang out with vets is because they've all been through the same thing, and you can't just explain what that emotional experience is like.
Well,
and
there's these things called books, and you can get you can't exactly get it, but
no, you can't even
give you a better idea than you did if you didn't read a book anyway.
Yeah, you can't even really come close to it. I mean, like I could seriously read 100 books on giving birth to a child, and I am not gonna. I'm not even gonna come close to it. And I understand that, and I'm not saying like going to war or giving birth to a child are. I
don't know. I think you can read books on it. It's just as good.
And where can people send their hate mail, Chuck?
Look, there's lots of things you can read in a book. You don't want to go through it. And you can read that, and you can have empathy for the characters in the book, and you can realize that like I don't want to go through that, and people who've gone through that, I should have some respect for it.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying, and I'm not equating any of these experiences, but what I'm saying is like, you know, when you're an artist, you have to go through this thing with your work and releasing it and dealing with everything around there. And it's a lot of, you know, work just to get it to the point where you can release it to the public. And I feel like, you know, you have to kind of go through the process to understand what that's all about. And that's, you know, that's why I have respect for people that put, you know, anything out. Even if you write a book that I think sucks, I will still respect that, because it is just hard putting out that sucky book. You know, you put out that sucky book, you worked on it for a long time, then you put it out, and then, you know, like, if people think it's, you know, it sucks and you have to deal with that, or they love it, or, you know, and
or basically they don't care.
They don't care.
Well, they don't know. You know, it's difficult. So, you know, I mean, whatever. It's, but it's a sort of it's a multi-stage process, I suppose.
I don't know where I'm going with this, so maybe one of our listeners can tell me if do we have any? Hold on, let me look at our listener counter. Oh my God, it's broke. We were overloaded with listeners.
Yeah, there's too many listeners. There's a couple of listeners. Thank you, listeners.
Okay, cool. Oh wait,
we don't have Amber today. They're probably listening on Amber's Twitch stream. Yeah.
They're probably really disappointed. They're like, "When's Amber showing up?"
Yeah. Where's Captain T?
Who's this
guy?
guy?
They're the people from the Comic-Con who went to the Captain T announcement. the Captain T was coming.
I don't know what you. Who's Captain?
Amber's project that she's working on for this company, Keenspot. I mean, look, just don't say we never did her any favors. I'm going to plug her project.
Is this what we've been? This isn't like what she's been working on that we've been seeing in the background, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's working on this thing called Captain T
straight
for this company, Keenspots. Keenspots are, in the early days of webcomics, there was Keenspot. There was Board Panda or something, or what was it? No, was that something? There was something with a panda, and that was the play, and then it just sort of shut down, and then there was Keenspot was left. And Keenspot was like all these comics, like newspaper comics that weren't going to get in the newspapers for whatever reason. You know, but mostly because they were being done by young people who were just putting their work out there. You know, they were drawing a comic and putting it out there. And some of the first ones were things that you would have seen, and there were sort of different newspapers, things that you'd see things in. So once the internet was there, they sort of all went on the internet. We were webcomics, and you know, Keenspot, it was started by there was Darren Gav Blewell and like the Crosby brothers. I don't really know enough about them. I met Gav. He was like a nice guy, and he gave a talk at the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco, and it was quite a famous sort of talk. And he was there, and the other person was there was Joey Manley, who was starting this thing, ModernTales.com. And Modern Tales had, you know, a lot of great Bay Area artists on, people like Jason Shiga, some people like Gene Yang, who's got his just show American Born Chinese, premiered on Modern Tales, and it's now, as his comic, you know, he was Bay Area cartoonist, he premiered that on Modern Tales. I still have the original zine that he did it, and now it's like the biggest show on Disney right now. And the other person who got really big out of it was Raina Telgemeier, or Rania Telgemeier. I don't know if I say her name right, I'm sorry. She, you know, she's like the biggest selling children's book author in America right now. You know, her books, like she writes these middle grade graphic novels about like her sort of experiences and stuff, and teen angst and stuff like that. She's huge.
Wait, middle grade comic books about?
Yeah, she just like look up like Raina Telgemeier.
Dang it. Okay,
fine. I was always calling her Raina, and then somebody the other day said it was Rania, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know. Hang on.
And she came out of this first like kind of like web publisher, like web comic publisher.
Well, she came out of the Modern Tales stable, so there were the two stables then. Raina, R-A-I-N-A, Raina. I always say Raina. Somebody said Rania, and I don't think that's right. It's Raina.
Ooh. I think my computer's listening to me because it put it up in it put it up at number 2 in my kind of search hints. Let's see, books. Let's see what books we have going on here. Smile, Guts, Sisters, Drama, Courage, Ghosts.
And she's married to a guy, Dave Roman. He was also there. I thought he was fantastic.
Oh,
some of the work he did. I haven't seen what he's done lately, but he was fantastic as well. So that's where I was with Pufel on that, and and there were like a number of great artists and people who've gone on, and I'm still friends with a lot of them, and that's sort of how I know Amber as well. But Amber's like been commissioned by Chris Crosby, I think, who's running Keen Spot, to do this series Captain T, and I don't think there's a lot of money in it for her, but it's it's a good sort of gig for her, I think. I don't know. So I really want her to do well with that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I feel like if you can't make money, you should at least really like it, and it should be something like that you're proud of.
Yeah, I think she's really enjoying it, and I think it's good. She's got a kid, so actually she should be thinking about that kid stuff. I think she's working too hard on it. I think she's got to really loosen up a bit. I know she wants to. She's trying to do something like she likes the Black Sad, which is amazing, and it's really detailed.
Black Sad.
Yeah, it's like a noir comics, but it's a bit like Disney, like animals, like furries, like like Disney Robin Hood really sort of set the style for all that. And he's like a Black Panther, and he's a detective, and it's really cool. It's so well drawn. But I think for Keen Spot audience, I think you've got to go more quickly. I think she's got to go more quickly than she is. But she's really working on it hard.
You're saying that they're like fickle? That like they're fickle, like they needed to just come out in like a couple months?
Yeah.
Or...
but she's doing a fantastic job, so
So
check that out, everybody. Check out Captain T. I mean, I believe it's running. She's she has her own Twitch stream there, and it's really good stuff. And she's been so great at supporting me and supporting this show.
Captain T.
And everybody
That's
should
true, she has.
Support that.
Captain T, like just the letter, or TEA or TEE?
T, like Captain T, like that black cat. You're not watching what she's doing. It's the event. He's a black cat. He's pirating an airship, piloting. I'm not sure if he's a pirate or not. He's arrived in this town, and he's setting off on an adventure.
I'm trying to find something. I think I'm looking in the wrong spot. Captain T. Can I do like Captain T Panther? Will that work?
No.
Okay. Well, is this
hang on, let me find it. Captain T. Keen Spot.
I've seen like the illustrations behind her for a while. They're like I don't know what to call them. Like almost like Renaissance Village type of stuff. Is that accurate at all? Or did I just make stuff up?
Wait, what are you talking about?
I've seen those illustrations behind her for a while, right?
Yes.
And to me, they're almost like a Renaissance Village or something.
Sure.
Is that anything? Am I close? No?
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's some sort of medieval situation.
This is going to be your most...
I really messed up this drawing here, but that's never mind.
This is going to be Chuck's most productive drawing session ever. Because instead of like letting Chuck draw, I'm just going to distract him, pull him in a million directions. It's going to look like 5 different drawings like put together, like stitched together with some software.
Yeah, I did something a bit. I went wrong. Oh well, that's all right. It's the first drawing I've done in a while, so we're just going to...
You mean since yesterday?
Pretend like...
It was your first drawing since Sunday? Like, I think Chuck was doing this big drawing. I'll just pretend like you're not here from now on, Chuck. You just draw, and I'll just pretend like you're not there.
That was different sort of drawing. That was like, that was sort of inking on the computer. This is like a proper drawing.
Oh, this was like analog.
Yeah.
This is like your mistakes count.
Yeah, I can't. No mistakes allowed.
Oh, this is some high... Hey!
You stole my
Yeah,
stream. I was gonna draw, and then it's like we can't let you in because somebody else is on your stream.
Well, I mean, we're glad to know.
We were just talking about you.
Yeah, we were just talking about
I know,
you.
because I checked in to see what was going on, and I went, "Oh my ears must be burning." But yeah, I
Yes.
checked in too, and I see you are doing more Kickstarter. Let's do this.
Well, we still can. Yes, here we are.
Yes.
Wrap up type of stuff.
Yes.
Trying to decompress, I think.
I'm
yes.
doing like a nice fun drawing now. Like I'm trying to. Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
Well, I was
This is
like
decompression
planning on
drawing.
working on comics. Can I sneak my little drawing tablet in there?
Sure.
Yes.
Can I distract both of you?
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay.
you
How are
guys-
you guys doing?
Great.
I'm like super tired, but probably not as tired as Chuck is. How are you?
I'm all right.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
so exhausted yesterday, actually.
Let's see. Let me
Let's
try and
see.
organize this a little bit. I'll put Chuck up in the corner with his drawing, and I'll put me down there. Or should I put Chuck on the bottom? That's
It'd
more
be-
prominent.
No, yeah, that's good. I like that. I'm happy with that. That's fine.
Okay.
what I-
Well,
you know
we
what I
can
think?
hardly see you though. I'm gonna move.
Oh,
you
me?
to
I
the
don't worry,
bottom.
but I'm not very. I don't have much to. Yeah, no, I'm all right hiding up there. No, okay, well, that's fine.
That's fine.
You
That
don't
way.
want the code, the QR code over your head, over your
No,
eyes.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, you come down here. I'll go up there.
Yeah,
Good.
you know, and
Okay,
then
there
that
we
way, you know, people can see what I'm working on in a tiny little window.
go. No, you're there. Like, I'm putting you down the bottom. That's good. I like that. That's good. We're there,
Okay,
Chris.
I'm not gonna argue. I'm working on perspective, and I'm gonna be drawing in peeps today. So that
So
was
I'm-
my plan.
Okay.
I was actually planning on listening to court shows, so you guys actually keep me from that.
What,
so-
like People's Court, like stuff like that?
It's my jam, man. I like those really bad shows. I know they're terrible. I know they're probably staged, most of them, but there's just something in me about watching people up close and them explaining in their own words their point of view, what they believe happened, or trying to lie, put one over on the judge. You know, I just, yeah, there's just a lot of human nature wrapped up in that. And yeah.
I used to watch the original, or probably like the first one of those, which was like Judge Wapner. My mom used to watch.
Oh yeah,
mostly.
People's Court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doug
Yeah, that was the
Llewellyn, who
original
was very
People's
like
Court.
he was like the straight man, and then after that there was Judge Judy, and now I assume that there's a bunch of them. I don't know.
There is one show called Tribunal Justice, which has
That sounds harsh.
has 3
Yeah,
judges. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Okay.
Frontier Justice.
So one of the
Now on
judges,
Trump Networks.
one of the judges is Judge Levy, right? It's the only guy judge on there, and the other 2 judges are girl judges, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's Judge Judy's son.
Oh wow. Can you tell it all, or?
Well, it's just, I mean, they don't come right out and say it, but one of the people that was on there is like, I was meeting Judge Judy's son today, and he's like, yeah, that's me, and so it's like, okay, that's Judge Judy's son.
It's like
Yeah.
a family business. I guess you just pass it
She-
down for generations.
She created the show,
And
and she also is executive producer on the show. So yeah, it's a family business.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool. I mean, I see clips of those shows that I think are funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's I said, it's my jam, right? You know, and it's like anything else. If you dwell through the crap, you're gonna find the treasure. And you know, that's true of musical types that you don't like. You know, you're gonna find little bits in there that you go, oh yeah, I can listen to that, even though it may not be a genre of music that you normally listen to, because you took the time to listen to that genre of music you don't normally listen to. And so that's just kind of my thinking of it is you find those funny moments. Yeah.
And of course, if you back the Earthspace Kickstarter right now, which somebody just did, somebody just came in for $95. Thank you,
Yeah!
amazing backer. That's
Woo!
somebody else came in for the set there. For that, you get the 2 hardback books. Can I just go all PBS for a minute?
$95, do they get original artwork with that?
I can tell you exactly what they get because that's how much I back Chuck for.
You get the
original artwork?
You get the 2 hardback books, and you get the CD, which will now be produced. And my plan for the CD is a 3-panel fold-out. So there's the disc, 2 panels fold out, or 2 or 3 panels fold out, and then there's a pocket where there's a little 8-page booklet in there, like a little.
Nice.
So it'll be like a little mini comic. You know, I'll put some other space cartoons and some lyrics, and have some fun with it. And so that's what you'll get for that.
How many of these are you actually planning on producing?
Oh, the CD is going to be a very limited run. It's going to be probably like 300 or something. That's probably the minimum run.
You know what? That's small enough to do something really cool, like a pull-out comic. You know,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yes,
with it,
yes, you can do. Yeah. Yes, you can do up to an 8-page booklet. Could do that. So yes.
Well, what I'm talking about is almost like a pop-up book where you have different layers of cards.
I don't have time for it. It sounds fantastic. I'll do that on the Astro Kitty one. But I've committed to a launch event on September 9th. So actually, I have to get really moving on the CD. Actually, I have sort of said that I don't 100% know that the CD itself will be ready for that launch, but I'm hoping it will. But I have to make it. That has to happen next week.
The launch?
No, I have to get the CD, the book, and everything put together and upload it.
It has to go to the manufacturers with that type of lead.
It's a good problem to have, Chuck.
Yes, great. Yes, it is. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you know, it's I try and look at the bright side of things these days.
Oh yes, no, I'm not worried. Yes, I'm not worried. It's like, well, you know, I fell down the stairs and I got a bit of a concussion, and that knocked 2 weeks out of my schedule at some point. It wasn't just that; there was a few things, but that definitely didn't help. It really knocked me out for 2 weeks. It didn't actually knock me out, so don't panic, folks. But it put me off, so I started a little late, and anyway.
The reason I like.
Do you like my mouse chick with this horse?
Oh, that's a mouse. Okay.
I'm calling it a mouse.
Well, I see the tail, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, she's looking the other way. It's a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Oh, and the ears.
Yeah.
I guess the ears kind of give it away.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm calling it a mouse. But yeah, we're doing sketching today for me. Of stuff. I'm drawing in people.
So Chris was asking me a bit more about Captain T. Like he seems a bit vague on the whole concept. I was trying to fill him in. So there was a Keen Spot announcement. It's all right. I'm just teasing.
There was a Keen Spot announcement that was literally like Captain T's coming with like no info.
No, I mean I totally get it now. There's a lot of men that are getting to a certain age and their testosterone is dropping, and they need a spokesperson to get the message out. And push that T.
So it's a story meant for kids.
I think I'm wrong.
And it's him in search of King Ollie's gold, and he finds the treasure of friendship along the way.
So is he a sort of a pirate, or he's just a treasure hunter? He's a good guy.
Oh no, he's a scoundrel at this point in the story. I have him stealing from people in the first like 11 pages of the story.
I can see how this is going to develop.
Like he's going to be a nice person by the end of the story.
Yeah, he's like a rugged individual that looks out for himself, right?
Yeah.
Like me first, and you take care of yourself, I'll take care of me, and yeah. And then he has kind of a transformation for the better.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to do the reverse, where someone starts out really nice, and then they transform into this
that's a villain's origin.
Yeah, I mean that might be more interesting if you could do it with like humor, like not make it dark. Just be like, man, this guy's had a bad string of luck. Look at all this terrible stuff that's happened to this character. Well, I kind of agree. I mean,
a good villain you will identify with as well.
When I watched Clockwork Orange in college in what I'm going to call film school, so no one fact check me on that. No one look up my degree. So when we saw,
you were at school and you watched a lot of films.
Yeah, I mean it was film school, but I'm just saying this for brevity's sake. I don't want to go into the nuances of the difference between a media arts degree and like a film school degree.
So it was a media arts school.
Yeah, it was media art. And but when we watched it, the teacher at some point asked like how many people found. I think Alex was the main character.
Mm-hmm.
They, who did some terrible stuff. They said, he said, how many people found that guy like at least likable in certain parts? And a lot of the class, most of the class, raised their hand because he was kind of a funny, smart, like terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's and he's a charismatic actor as well. I mean, that's the whole point, like Malcolm McDowell, and he sort of specialised in the 70s in playing these sort of really kind of freaky sort of characters that were sort of normal but freaky.
Was he in any of the Dirty Harry stuff? I kind of feel like Clint Eastwood shot him off a pier at one point, or was that somebody else?
No, you think? Yeah, he's quite similar to the first Dirty Harry villain, but that wasn't him. I don't know. But he was. There's one he did in San Francisco, Time After Time. That's quite a good time travel one with Mary Steenburgen, where he's like H.G. Wells and he pursues David Warner. David Warner's Jack the Ripper. So it starts in Victorian London in the house, and H.G. Wells invites his friends.
Of course it does.
David Warner turns up all sort of sweaty looking. There, H.G. Wells, talks about his new time machine that he's invented down in the basement there, which looks a lot like the George Powell one. And then there's a knock at the door, and they go up, and it's the police, and they're like, "Oh, they followed the Ripper here." I think, but he can't be here. But of course, it was David Warner, the doctor friend, and he's now stolen the time machine, and he's travelled to like 1970s San Francisco. And the machine had a homing thing, so it comes back. So H.G. Wells has no choice, Malcolm McDowell, to follow him into 1970s San Francisco, where they arrive right at the Embarcadero Center. And he's sort of chasing him around the Embarcadero Center, Ray Francis.
This sounds like something that would be in like Mystery Science Theater 3000, like that they would be watching this movie.
It's a little better. It's a little better. It's a good movie, and there's a really good bit where he finally catches up with David Warner, and he's sort of in a hotel room, sort of down at some seedy part of 6th Street or whatever, and he goes, "Don't you understand? This is my time. This is where I'm supposed to be." And he gives this it's very good sort of chilling sort of scene, and he's like, Chuck, what are you even doing here? Like, just leave me be. I'm quite happy here, and nobody minds. And
Chuck, I see that pretty looking mic in front of you. Is any of your audio going through that pretty mic?
I don't know. Is it all going through the computer?
No. Okay. Chuck gets excited, and he doesn't realize that he can just be conversational.
I don't think he can hear. I don't think he can hear the clipping the way we can, like, because it's pretty harsh.
Sorry,
I don't think
I'm really
hear
sorry,
it.
Guys. I'm really sorry. I'm really trying my best.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's your fault. I just don't think you can hear it in your headphones for whatever reason.
I have to put my microphone like way further away,
or like just turn the gain down or something.
I've got it all the way down. I believe I have it all the way down.
I thought it was
just like teasing you about your sound.
I thought it was sexier when you had the mic right in front of you. Well, I'm kind of like an audiophile, but I mean that clipping's pretty. It's not minor. It's not subtle.
No, my mic's right here, so
yeah. Somehow Amber never clips. I don't know. What's your secret, Amber?
I talk conversationally.
Yeah.
I see.
I did enough TV in Minneapolis that I learned how to just kind of keep my voice low, and this it's like my radio voice. You just kind of have it nice and low, and people will listen.
You just come in close to the mic if you want to be heard better. Like
if you want to be heard better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
ASMR stuff.
What was that SNL skit where they used to talk like that? Do you remember that? Like they were. It was like a public access radio.
Oh
yes.
Well, they used to make fun of NPR a lot.
Yeah.
And they used to. I forget the actress's name, but they had Alec Baldwin on at one point, and they were doing the like
Yeah.
sweaty chocolate balls
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, the sweaty balls. Yeah. And they were meatballs. They weren't chocolate.
No, it was candy.
Was it
Wasn't
candy?
I thought it was candy. It was my salty, sweaty. So Sweaty was his last name.
Yeah,
And
sweaty was
then he
his
had
last
these
name.
salty. I thought it was candy. I really did. And then they each put like one of them in their mouths. But yeah, I love it when they made fun of NPR, mostly because it was very true.
Well, that's funny. My friend Ollie called me this morning, and he had a story about balls.
You're not going to
Something about putting the balls in the jar.
You know, life's like that. It just continues to hand you very similar things. Or is it kind of like when you're looking at a yellow car and then you start seeing yellow cars everywhere? You know, because like you're looking for one, and then you know, as you're going around, you're like, wow, there's a lot of yellow cars, but there really isn't.
There's a name for that, and it's kind of like once you learn to focus on something, you see it all over the place. It's been there the whole time, but you're just seeing it through the noise. Like when we bought a silver RAV4, I didn't realize that every other car in San Francisco is a silver RAV4, but it is.
You haven't. Yeah.
Like we've got like
that was
car in
common
San
knowledge.
Francisco. Like we've got the, like if you're in Portland, I think it's some type of Subaru, but in San Francisco it might be a RAV4. Yeah, RAV4 is probably too cheap. It might be something else. It's probably
RAV4 is a bit smaller, so it's like that's very better for San Francisco.
But for San Francisco, it's probably like some like, you know, Mercedes sports utility vehicle.
I guess now, you know, there was a time when San Francisco used to be the home to hippies.
Yeah, never when I lived here, unfortunately. I mean, I think I missed all of that.
Well, I'll tell you, when it's Jerry Day, we have Jerry Day in the neighborhood up the hill. And, well, there's quite a lot of hippies there. And my neighbor's here, my good friend and neighbor, Michael Zimmerman, he's an old hippie. He backed my Kickstarter, so he's cool. He's actually been really good about backing my Kickstarters through the years. So I'm pro-hippie.
So we're not bashing hippies any longer?
No, I moved to the San Francisco because of the hippies. I'm not.
I had 20 minutes written on that.
I'm a punk and a hippie. I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to, but I don't know if you can be both. But if I have to choose, I'm probably more of a hippie. Really, definitely more of a hippie.
Yeah, I like some of the stuff from like the hippie culture. Like I basically adopt what I think works for me, and so there's aspects of the hippie culture that I like. There's some I don't, but that's true of like a lot of cultures.
I like Hendrix. He came out of that.
Who?
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy who?
Yeah.
Except
like nobody somehow connects Jimi Hendrix with like hippies because he's black, and there just aren't black and hippie. Like it's a little sliver of the Venn diagram nobody ever talks about.
He
was to us. I think
he was a hippie. He dressed like a hippie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
You know, he made rock music, which was, you know, the hippies listened to.
He had a really hippie video called Jimmy's Hendrix the Rainbow Bridge.
He is the final act of the movie Woodstock.
He's the final act.
You know, of the show, you know, the music festival. Like, he was the final act. He was the last performance. And so they had him close out the movie as well.
I just saw a clip of the more recent Woodstock with
Oh, the one that went terribly wrong, the terrible Woodstock.
They both went wrong, but I guess the newer version went like more wrong.
The newer one was terrible. Yeah.
It was kind of like
they had $5 water back in the 90s. Yeah, now, like not now.
But the same thing happened where like they charged people up for the tickets, and then all these other people got in for free. Mm-hmm. And then the original one, I think they also planned on like having some control over who was admitted, and it didn't work out at all.
Well, the original one wasn't meant to be at the venue that it was finally at. They were supposed to be at another venue in New Jersey, and the farmer in New York that allowed them to have it there on his farm didn't realize how big it was going to be. So like they had posters and stuff printed up with the old address. They had to through word of mouth, let people know where to go. And so people just like turned and came to this guy's farm, and there was nothing set up like barricades or anything. They literally just climbed over the fence to get in to hear the music.
And there was no way to support the amount of people that came there for food or for lodging or for bathrooms, you know?
No, but 2 babies were born and 1 person died. And
Two babies were born. So net positive for the human race. Nice job, Woodstock.
Actually, it would be better if like it evened out more. That would be more equitable.
Yeah, but I mean, I know more about the original one than the one that was in the 90s. But the original one was just such a phenomenon. It held the Guinness Book World Record for largest peaceful gathering of humans for many, many, many years. And I don't remember what eventually broke it, but it held it for like 20 years.
That seems a little bit subjective. Like peaceful, large gathering.
Well, they meant like, you know, there weren't any crimes. No one was murdered. No one was killed. You know, anything like that, I suppose.
Stop reporting that stuff. Like we're going to shut that reporting down on that negative. I'm trying to think. What year was the original? Was that late 60s or early? It must have been late 60s, huh?
I want to say 1966 or 67, because Hendrix was still alive, and he died in 67.
Oh,
So that's my gauge, is Hendrix.
Even before my time. I mean, I would have been in New York a little bit later after I was born.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever been to Woodstock, even though a large part of my life was spent in upstate New York.
You know,
it's a little town.
It's a little tiny town. The only thing that ever happened there was a music festival. You know, it's not a bad thing.
I wonder if anyone's planning for a third disaster. Like
Burning Man used to be on the beach in California, and then somehow it turned into an art gathering.
Well, I thought it was on the beach in San Francisco, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was on the beach in San Francisco.
I said California.
Yeah,
you know,
it was.
I just didn't know
exactly. But you're wrong. You're wrong.
I'm trying to think of what beach it was on, because I've of course I've been to all the beaches in the city, and I've been to that beach. I cannot remember which one it was. I don't think it was like the big ones. I don't think it was Ocean Beach. But I mean, if you're gonna burn a 50-foot wooden man, I can understand why people in San Francisco might say this is a bad idea to do it on this local beach here.
Yeah. It wasn't 50 foot to start with. It was only like 12 foot to start with, and then it got bigger and bigger.
It used to be called Burning. Yeah, it was originally called Burning Boy.
Burning Boy.
And then they had Burning Adolescent, and now it's full on.
Yeah.
Well, they always had. See, in England, we burned Guy Fawkes on November the 5th, and that's when we let off our fireworks. And Guy Fawkes was the guy who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. So the same guy in that Alan Moore goes on about in V for Vendetta. So, but Guy Fawkes was a bit of a stooge. You know, he was set up like I forget where it comes in the whole plot of everything, but they were against the Parliament, and they were trying to blow up the Parliament for some reason. And Guy Fawkes we burned Guy Fawkes in effigy. So it's almost like, you know, so they failed to blow up the Parliament, and now we burn Guy Fawkes in effigy on the bonfire. But the actual tradition that I learned from my 2000 AD comics is that, you know, when the Romans came to Britain, Julius Caesar was very horrified at all these savages who had their faces painted blue, and they put all their criminals into a big wicker man, and they set fire to it and burned them. So they were doing these mass burnings of people in wicker men to appease their gods at Samhain, which is like Halloween.
I mean, that's
what Caesar found it all a bit shocking. So, you know, that's why, you know, like then the Romans sort of conquered us, and then that was sort of squished out of us by the Romans, and we all became good Romans.
The most interesting thing that I find about the whole like Wicker Man thing and stuff like that is the Nick Cage movie.
I never saw it. I guess bad. I'm curious.
Did you say Nicolas Cage?
Nicolas Cage made a Wicker Man movie.
When?
They put a basket of bees on his head, and he goes, the bees, the bees.
Yes, I've seen that bit.
They,
yes, I saw
they,
when I
they
read
put him in a sack at the end, and then they're like beating him, and he's like, my leg.
There was also
really good, but what year?
He punches a woman dressed as a bear.
Oh yeah, there's always one of those in there, like someone dressed as a bear. I guess a woman.
The woman is dressed as a bear. She's wearing a full-on bear outfit, and he's like, bam.
There is a proper sequel to The Wicker Man that's called The Wicker Tree.
The Wicker Tree?
But it's a bit weird. It's got some good people in it, and even Christopher Lee's got like a little appearance in it. Yeah, but it's it's written by Anthony Schaefer and it's directed by the same director, I think. So it is a proper sequel, but it's a bit weird. It's not as good. But it's weird.
Amber,
it's interesting. I mean, if you're a Wicker Man fan, and it may over the years it may seem better. I don't know.
Amber's convinced me not to see that Nicolas Cage movie. She did it really quickly. She was like, whatever you said, I was like, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. Okay. So my experience with seeing that movie was when I was in art school at the time. If they're not sure about a movie, but they want to get reactions from audience members to use as like a test audience or possibly to use as advertisement or whatever, they'll have like the cameras pointed at the audience for like a early screening. And so we got this early screening of The Wicker Man, and we were laughing in the aisles like it was a comedy. And it's supposed to be this horror movie. And
it got a really bad reputation. They
literally
so it was
put
like Springtime
the cameras
Hitler?
away. Yeah, they literally put the cameras away like 15 minutes into the movie because they knew they weren't going to get the reactions that they wanted.
I love Nicolas Cage in some of his movies. I mean, I love him in Peggy Sue Got Married, and one of my all-time favorite films is Raising Arizona.
Moonlighting is, or not moonlighting, Moonstruck.
Which one is that?
Cher?
What happens in that?
He and Cher fall in love.
I'm not sure I saw that one.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
that's a good romantic, like younger guy falling in love with an older woman sort of comedy. It was good.
But I love some of his work, and then he took this path in his career for a while where he was doing all these like dumb.
Well, okay, so let's talk about Nick Cage as a person, right? He had surrounded himself with people that basically took advantage of his fortune and told him that he could afford things that he was trusting them to like handle his finances and stuff. And so he'd be like, "Oh, can I buy this thing?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead and buy it."
You should have talked to Chris. Chris doesn't trust anyone to handle.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So he had to take all these movies.
Yeah, and so he ended up in a lot of trouble with the IRS. He owed a lot of back taxes because the accountant and stuff got in trouble with the IRS, and Nick Cage was one of their clients. And so he, when they went back and they audited all of this accountant's clients, Nick Cage was one of them, but because he was this multi-million-dollar client, he owed multi-million-dollars. And so it was really bad for him. He had to sell a lot of stuff. He had to do a lot of shitty movies.
He had to do The Rock.
No, The Rock was before this. And The Rock is a fun movie.
The Rock was when he was riding high. That was, like The Rock and Con Air. He was on fire.
Con Air, yes.
Yeah, Con Air's fun movie, you kind of forget that everybody on that plane is a really bad person.
I mean, I didn't see it, so.
Oh, you didn't see it? Well, I mean, it's called Con Air. It's right there in the title.
But Chuck's right. Nicolas Cage, if you're listening, you should talk to me. I don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I say, Nicolas Cage?
That was one of the first things I learned about Chris. He's like, don't trust anybody with your money.
Don't trust, verify. I feel the same way as like some of those Bitcoin mottos I love, like don't trust, verify.
Yeah.
But you trusted Bitcoin, so you did quite well at Bitcoin.
Well, I did a lot of verification. At a certain point, you aren't learning anymore about something, so you either decide if you're going to do it or not do it, or you're going to dip your toe in the pool, or like it's at some point it's like diminishing returns. And the first time I bought Bitcoin, I had no idea what I was doing, but I didn't buy much. And then when I came back to it, I said, well, if I'm going to put real money into this thing, I'm going to figure out what it's really about. And I spent about 6 months doing that. And then I was like, I'm not really learning anything new after that 6 months or a year, however long it was. So I was like, either I'm going to start putting some money into it or I'm going to just decide not to.
Right. At some point, you know the facts and the rules. You got to like start playing the game.
Yeah. I mean, you get as good as you can. I mean, I'm not saying like I couldn't be fooled, but I felt like I went from very little understanding of Bitcoin to way better than the average person, person in the public, which I guess I should say that's a pretty low bar, actually, I think. But,
what, the average person in the public?
well, like, so we're in the Bay Area, so all the tech and crypto stuff is like more in the news cycle, and there's more people around you that are connected to it. So I feel like we just get more of that news. But if you just take your average American off the street, they don't understand.
The average American.
I mean, I don't think they understand like fundamentally what's different about. I mean, like I feel like they don't understand money to begin with. Like they don't understand what a dollar is. Or
I think that's true of older generations, but younger generations know how to use the internet.
Well, okay. If there's any younger generations paying attention to us right now, let me know what you understand about the dollar.
There's only young people. We're all young. We're all underdeveloped chimpanzees. We're immature chimpanzees. Just think, like, one day we're going to be these godlike beings that sort of exist throughout the galaxy. But right now, we're just like these little children.
Oh, I have kind of news, a little bit, and I totally recommend it for anybody who is possibly using a computer. What I did.
Viewers know how
oh my God, I'm using one right now, Amber. What is?
So I have a very techie friend who I was like, okay, help me with alerts, help me with my Twitch channel a little bit and stuff like that. And so we were trying to figure out how to improve my setup. And so I have this gaming laptop that, I'm just like, oh, it's, it can only do so much. Well, it came with 8 gigabytes of RAM, but the machine can take 64. So I went down to Micro Center and I got 2 new 32 sticks of RAM, and I had them put it in for $20. And, out the door with a fan, it cost me like $210.
Wait, what'd you get a fan for?
A fan to put on the bottom for my computer to sit on top because it's running hotter now.
So you just got like a case fan?
Kind of, but for my laptop.
Oh, it's for your laptop.
Yeah, it's for my laptop. Okay. So the laptop sits on top of it.
I'm getting off track. So you had the RAM upgraded in your laptop?
Yes. The working memory in my laptop jumped from 8 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes.
Are you feeling those horses? Are you like, whoa?
Oh, I loves the horses. I loves how fast they are. Oh my gosh, the internet is the highway again.
Is it really?
Yes.
You feel a difference?
It's such a difference.
So you went to 8 to 32, is that what?
No, 8 to 64.
I feel like you're talking a whole conversation. This is a sort of conversation from like 1999 or something. Where people were like upgrading.
That was a good year. That was when everybody was
what?
partying.
But did anybody have problems? What are these things problems? I don't understand anything anymore. Look, here we go. I finished my picture.
Yay! Hot dogs.
Chuck, I just want to say, Chuck, this is the girl that I want animated for our video. I love that. I love what you did with like kind of the muted colors, and she's sexy as hell. And can I get this video? Can I get this girl in the raw dog video?
I'll put this one in the next round. Okay, yes. No, all the videos, I plan to upgrade them a little bit. Those are sort of first drafts. I mean, I might make my junior.
Also, I want to do
I'll take direction notes.
I want to do a casting call right now. If you're watching in our audience and you look like this girl and you want a hot dog that looks like that, could you please be in our music video? Put it in the chat thing.
And if you've got your own sort of 1960s space helmet, that would help. So I've got a space helmet, but it's more like 2020s Amazon.
That's a cool helmet. I like how it's like it doesn't have glare, because I don't want any glare over like her beautiful eyes.
Well, it probably would have a glare spot right here, to be honest.
But that's what I like about it. It's like that special glass that they put artwork behind in the museums.
Now I'm going to draw a
Archival
sexy
glass?
lady Henry Cavill. Because that's what Amber was reminding me of when she was talking about building her PC. I was thinking about she's like a lady. You're like female Henry Cavill there building your PC.
So I think Amber's tip is have the geeks at the shop upgrade your RAM, and it makes a big difference. You went up by a factor of 4, yeah?
Yeah. Like,
Or wait,
it was
4?
I
Did
mean,
32 or 64? You went up to 64,
64.
gigs?
Two 32 gig sticks.
I think what I have, I think I've got 32 right here.
Well,
I'm not sure.
There's websites, and again, my techie friend like taught me how to do this, where you look up your model number and it tells you how many memory slots you have.
Sweetie.
And then you can see how much your processor can actually handle. And
Sweetie.
then, yeah.
Sweetie, I built my machine. I got the motherboard inspected out myself and installed RAM.
Okay, well, I was just happy that I was able to upgrade my laptop without having to buy a new one,
That's so cool.
A desktop or something.
Right, because like a new laptop is what, between 1,000 and 2,000, and you did an upgrade for how much?
Chuck, we need to put you up here if you're going to start drawing.
Yeah, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put you up here if you're going to start drawing.
Oh yeah, thanks. I'm starting too high up the page. Right.
See, this is why you need me.
Can you even see what I'm doing here? Yeah.
Chuck, if it was just me, I'd just be talking to people, and your artwork would be off like on the side, and no one would be seeing it.
Yeah, and people would be like, "Why is this marked art? They're just talking."
They'd be like, "One guy's just ignoring the other guy," and I don't know what he's doing. He's taking notes. He's transcribing something.
Which one, right? Which one's doing the ignoring?
It would probably be Chuck, because I'd probably be saying something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to put I'm putting AIs out of work by soon it'll be illegal for humans to draw, because that'll be putting AIs out of work, and they'll be very upset when they find out they don't have any jobs. So
I'm trying to make AI work for me, and so far it's worked a tiny bit for me. I actually did, like I said, I made a single cover with some AI generated art, but that's all I've done. They didn't help me out with writing lyrics, and they totally lied to me about certain stuff. So I think the net is actually negative so far.
What, on AI?
Well, from my experience, I tried a few things. I tried Bard, I tried GPT or Chat GPT, whatever the current version is it 4? And I tried another kind of like, and I've tried Midjourney, and I tried another Midjourney-ish thing that's on like Gab. And of the artwork that it generated, there was only one piece I could use out of maybe like 30 or 40.
Mm-hmm.
And of the lyrics I tried to generate to just kind of jar my brain free, just to give me some ideas, none of it worked, because it seemed like it was from the 70s. Like I describe it as good poetry from a 6th grader. For a 6th grader, I would give it an A. But for contemporary music, I wouldn't dare use any of it. And then when I asked it about stuff I had domain knowledge in, it got a lot wrong.
What you're saying is that AI is a gifted kid that will soon succumb to depression and anxiety and insomnia, and we'll wonder where all the talent went.
It'll be just like our youths. Pretty soon it'll have panic attacks when you're trying to use it.
Yeah,
and,
it'll say, I don't want to screw up anymore.
It won't learn anything about the world because it won't leave the house.
Let's see.
That's kind of sad.
I'm trying to make it look like it's doing its thing.
I saw some post. I don't know if it was like a Pocket post, but Pocket always like shows up for me, and I'm like, no, I don't want to read this bullshit. But it was somebody that had written, that's probably around my age, that basically said this was the last generation where you would finish your homework early, you'd rush through it so you could like bolt out the front door and go to the park and like play baseball or soccer. Like I remember skipping homework and this and that so I could get on my BMX and I could go around the neighborhood. And I'm like, yep, that's how it was for me. When I got home, I couldn't wait to go play like baseball with my friends And I wasn't even like super athletic. I couldn't wait to
None,
like get on my BMX and go around the
none of my
unsupervised.
friends lived close, and so when I got home, I was very isolated. So that's one of the reasons why I became a good artist,
Mm.
is because I would just draw little worlds for myself in my room, and I'd play video games. And so I still play video games. I still draw. So I haven't changed much.
I mean, I look back at that period of time and like we had the early video systems, right? We had like a Atari.
Yeah, but I
2600.
had NES and
Yeah.
Sega Genesis and
Well, like every generation. Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
that stuff's more engaging, and pretty soon you won't be able to. It'll be so close to reality. But we had like a 2600, and the 5200 had come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some friends that got into it pretty hardcore, but for us, it was kind of a novelty. We did it for a while, and then
Mm-hmm.
we just stopped doing it.
Yeah. And some things are like that for some people, but I for me, video games were just fun. And I'm still trying to teach myself how to build them, because I came up with an idea for a game, and it's like a simple game that works on paper, and I think that people would like it if I can get it to work on a computer.
There's some games that are like really they seem to me, now I've never developed a game, but they seem to me pretty simple, but they're like super engaging. Like one was like Doodle Jump.
Yeah.
Doodle Jump seemed pretty fun to play for a while, and that other game, not Angry
Doodle
Birds,
Jump.
but the one where the
That's
birds.
the one. Okay, yeah, Doodle Jump.
Flappy
is fine.
Birds.
It's the
Flappy
one
Bird.
where the birds land on the hills and stuff, and they just like shoot off the hills, and it's almost like birds skiing, and they've got a great soundtrack. It's got
I don't know
amazing,
that one.
like, yeah, it's not Angry Birds. It's more like peaceful ski jumping birds, and like what you're trying to do is you're trying to like maximize their efficiency as they jump from like hilltop to hilltop.
Hmm.
And I forget what it's called, but it had amazing music, and it actually like made you feel good. You know what I mean?
I
It was,
imagine that music's probably very important to you in something like a video game, being a musician. Like if the music sucks, you're just like, I can't get behind this. It sucks.
yeah, I mean, I'm very active about listening to music, and a lot of people just absorb it emotionally, but it does have like a big impact, even if you're not like a musician. Like it'll totally change the like emotional tone of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I listen for the sinister music to start, and then I'm like, okay, here's the reveal where we find out this character's bad, or here's something terrible is going to happen in the next scene.
Right, the
Yeah.
music's supposed to preempt what happens a little bit,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was watching a breakdown of the movie Scream, and they were talking about how they use musical cues like that, where you expect a jump scare and stuff, to
Mhm.
mess with the audience when nothing was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wes Craven did that on purpose.
Yeah, and even before that, there were the scenes where, like, they cue the music and you think something terrible is going to happen, and then a cat comes in through the window,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
And they build up the suspense with the visual scene, but also like the music, so you're pretty sure something terrible will happen.
Let's see. So I'm okay. Question here. Let me make this more readable for you folk.
I got you covered, Amber. Go ahead, ask away, sweetie.
Okay, so you see that I have people in this market. This is Captain T right here. Okay, right? So that's him running.
Okay.
And I want to try to emphasize him.
Wait, he's the short one or the taller
Yeah.
one?
No, he's the short one.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the short one right there. And I'm trying to emphasize him running. So I thought this person would have like a planted pot, and then like it's spilling over above his head. Like, he basically like ran into them and ricocheted off like
I
a
see.
pinball. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's kind of like where I'm going. Like, does that make sense? Do you think that like equates that something's wrong? Because he's trying to run back before this guy finds him, who's on the other side of the building.
I'm gonna defer to Chuck on this. I feel like I'm out of my league.
Oh gosh, sorry.
I don't.
No, Chuck's doing his own thing.
Okay.
I was
So
listening,
you're asking somebody that doesn't really know what they're talking about.
I don't know. I'll do this. I'll have like, it's a plant coming out, and they're like, how dare you rush me like that?
I mean, that reads better to me, but what do I know? I mean, it reads better that there was some motion in there.
Yeah.
There's some disruption.
Yeah. I would say
I
would look at my Tintin, Amber. If I were you, I would look at my Tintin, because he's very good at these sort of gags and like running about and like a bit of slapstick.
I unfortunately do not have any Tintin at my immediate disposal. I will have to go to the library and wait a second. I can use my Libby app, and I can look up some Tintin. So
you can find some Tintin because he's really good at like these sort of little chases and like running and little swirls and little, the little emanata that come out and like how to do that and pace it and stuff.
Oh, emanata, you used the proper word.
Oh yes.
Oh, look at you.
I probably read it on one of your posts somewhere.
It sounds Italian.
I'm doing that for a while.
Oh, okay, guys, give me a second. I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
I'll just distract Chuck.
Do you think?
Anyway, so what? Now half of your face is in some. Now we can't even see your pretty face, Chuck. We have to we have to rejigger things.
Yeah, I'm afraid this camera.
How about like that? Is that rejiggered? No, it's not rejiggered.
Not really. Put in my drawing in the big picture, and then me in the little one. Wait.
Yeah, I was gonna. Oh, there you go. That's good. Oh, that was good.
Wait, I can put that over here.
Yeah.
Wait.
I don't know. It doesn't look like I have those options. I've got a bunch of options here, but none of them seem to be that one. I might not have the powers I formerly had.
I don't know. All right, I'm drawing the Witcher, or a sort of sexy lady Witcher.
Witcher?
The Witcher.
Witcher.
Do you know The Witcher?
I don't.
Well, The Witcher's a popular show with this guy Henry Cavill in, who likes to build PCs. Basically, it's what he's mostly famous for these days.
Isn't that Superman?
And being Superman, yeah, I guess that's probably more famous for Superman.
He's actually most famous for building the PC from my perspective.
Yeah, I think he's more famous now for building PCs on the internet and being. As Amber is always sticking out, like Amber seems to really like Henry Cavill.
Yeah, well, I mean,
nerd,
from Amber's
like
perspective, what's not to like?
Yeah.
Amber's always sticking up for this super hot, attractive guy. It's hard to figure out.
I like sort of sexy female Henry Cavill that I'm drawing here. That's like me. It's like I would always fancy Bugs Bunny when he turned into a girl. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, Bugs Bunny is kind of sexy as just a bunny. I don't know if he necessarily reads as very masculine or feminine.
No, but sometimes he would like turn into a girl. And
but wasn't there like a female Bugs Bunny, like his girlfriend or something?
There's female Donald Duck, but not. I don't know. Bugs Bunny female is Bugs Bunny in drag. You were just confused because he put on a dress and then you thought it was a different bunny.
Oh, well, I mean, I haven't watched that stuff for years. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, well, he pulled it off pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, he was like a hot bunny, and so. I don't know. It's all very difficult, but we were all we were subjected to this stuff as kids. I mean, it's like, how is our psyche supposed to survive?
I don't know. I think we're all screwed up from those cartoons we watched.
But if your parents didn't let you watch any cartoons or TV, you'd be even more screwed up.
No, you would have been screwed up.
What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on in the world?
So the TV and the cartoons as a child, it kept you distracted from the real screwed up stuff in the world. So you're actually better off.
Well, again, it's like all that sort of violence in the Tom and Jerry movies, cartoons.
Oh my God!
But that's sort of like it's a better way than the Grimm's fairy tales of warning you of the sort of horrors of the world. Yeah, they may not get hurt, but you know that you'd get hurt.
I mean, at no point was I confused about what was a cartoon and what could actually be done in like real life. Like at no point did I think I could get away with any of the stuff I saw on Tom and Jerry. Like never.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I was traumatized by any of that stuff, but I do love Itchy and Scratchy. Itchy and Scratchy are, because I immediately recognized, what that was about and why it is so funny.
Well, it is funny, and it's funny because my dad likes Itchy and Scratchy too. We always watch Tom and Jerry together, and he liked that. And I always think it's funny that, well, he was a bit late to Simpsons, but yeah, I think once he discovered it, and Itchy and Scratchy, he really liked.
Yeah, Itchy and Scratchy's great.
It's funny the things he liked. He liked this one Cow and Chicken at one point. I was like, I never really watched
Cow and Chicken. I don't know about that one.
So this is what we need Amber. I bet Amber can tell us all about Cow and Chicken.
Amber, come back and inform us about Cow and Chicken.
He was like, oh, have you ever watched Cow and Chicken? I was like, no, I haven't really.
Is it American?
Yeah, I think so.
It's American?
This is one of those sort of Cartoon Network shows. It was probably quite good. Yeah, I mean, I think I probably must have watched it.
There's a couple early things, like, I used to like Ren and Stimpy. I'm not sure that stuff holds up as well, but when it first came out, I thought Ren and Stimpy was great. Although at the time, the market wasn't flooded with all this animation, or cartoons, I guess.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy was pretty cool when it came out, that's for sure. I like Mike Judge, Beavis and Butthead. To me, that's still the greatest.
I liked King of the Hill more than Beavis and Butthead.
I like King of the Hill too. I mean, I like everything Mike Judge does. I don't think he's done some great movies as well. Extract, that's a good movie. Idiocracy, great movie.
Extract, I don't think I've seen that.
Extract's quite good. It's It's a more serious movie. It's like Jason Bateman's a guy who owns a factory. I guess it was his family's business. They make like a malt extract or something that they just, it's just a little factory making a little product that sort of goes out everywhere. And he's sort of just he running that, and it's a little bit like, it's a bit of a primer of running a small business or something. But it's a bit like him saying, like, this is life, this is how life functions. That's his movie. Like, in reality, he's done all these other sort of fantasy movies. It has that JD, what's his name, guy, who's got quite popular. He's in it, but it was just before he got really popular, just around when he was getting popular. JD. He was in that movie about the drummer, the drumming teacher.
Oh, right, Whiplash.
Whiplash.
He's the State Farm guy?
Yeah, the State Farm guy. Yes,
yeah.
He's in Extract. He's like the sort of foreman in the factory or something. I can't remember exactly. But
does he ever
go? It was
like
a great
this?
little movie about, like, that's sort of Mike Judge saying, this is life functioning sort of thing. This is how life functions. This is how you function in life. This is almost like this is how to live life in a way. Like, as opposed to, like, normally he's showing a lot of dysfunction. In King of the Hill, he's sort of showing function and dysfunction at the same time.
Yeah,
he always does that. But,
that's why I kind of like King of the Hill, because I realize that these characters, although they might seem like exaggerations, they're really close to real life people, and I think that's what makes it so funny, Yes,
and he was like, Frank, it's a progression from his early work in Beavis and Butthead, because Hank Hill is sort of the neighbor Anderson. He's not the same as Anderson. Hank Hill's a bit more sensible than Anderson. Anderson's the stupid neighbor in Beavis and Butthead who's always sort of like, "Now you boys come and mow my lawn."
I saw Beavis and Butthead when it was in these little. There used to be a festival. Have you guys ever heard of like Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted?
Oh yes. Used to do that. Or like they just had Spike and Mike Sick and Twisted. There were two.
Yeah, so the early Spike and Mike's, I was going to them. I was living in Tucson at the time, and that's the first time I saw Beavis and Butthead, and I think it was Frog Baseball was the sketch I saw. And a lot of the stuff I saw there never went anywhere, But Beavis and Butthead sure did.
He worked really hard on doing an animation. I've heard him being interviewed a few times.
Sick and Twisted is where I first saw Bill Plimpton animation.
What did he do?
He is an independent animator that does this very unique style in colored pencil.
Well, what did he have in Sick and Twisted?
One of them's called like Your Face, and it's an old swooner recording of a guy singing about like how beautiful your face is and stuff, but the animation gets bizarre. He has like his head like enters his head from like one side to the other. It twists around the tongue, like
he draws every frame
at one point. Yeah, and he draws every frame himself.
I like it when people draw every frame. I mean, I know it's a lot of work, but you get all these irregularities that you don't get if a computer does it, I think.
You probably like Bill Plimpton, and his stuff has a really good sense of humor.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's working on a new one right now.
Amber, you distracted me. I was talking about. I was about to go on about something else.
Bill Plimpton? How do you spell Plimpton?
Plimpton. P-L.
Oh, Plimpton.
Yeah, well, no P-L-Y-M-P-T-O-N. Plimpton.
Okay, I got it now. Oh yes, I am familiar with this guy's work.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know where I first saw it.
As you should be.
Yeah. I wonder where I first saw it.
Probably Sick and Twisted, because like I said, he used to do a lot of those festivals.
Yeah, and it might have been.
Yeah, and he aside from Sick and Twisted, he also was on Liquid Television, which Beavis and Butthead also went to, and a lot of Liquid Television kind of stemmed out of the Sick and Twisted festivals.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I just I liked MTV, and
I did too. I liked MTV for a while. Like I tend to like things when they're new and they haven't figured out the format and they're more experimental. And by the time MTV got up to 3 different channels, I was out basically. But the original MTV, with the original VJs and the original animation and stuff like that, I thought that was cool.
That was back when things could be cool. I think nothing can be cool anymore.
It was allowed to be cool for us Xers. We were the last cool generation, so sorry everybody. Sorry, you're out of luck.
Let's see.
All right, Amber, I drew a portrait of you.
Of me?
Yes.
Nice work, Chuck.
I'm a lady witcher. Look at that. Or is this a different portrait?
That's totally what I imagine Amber to be like when she's, walking around her neighborhood.
Yeah, and you're going around rebuilding PCs, building people PCs.
Oh, for sure. Right. Is that a RAM upgrade in the background?
She said, "I am the Lady Witcher. Would you like me to build you a PC?"
Excellent.
At a discount. I think what she'd say is I can give you
I'm adding. No, you can see Chris always makes me out. Oh, Chris, yeah.
At a discount. I mean, you don't have to.
I did like The Wild Hunt, which was the Witcher 3 game by CD Projekt Red. I thought that game was very good.
It's a discount because she's a lady. She can't charge us.
So, at a 70%.
I'm commenting on.
Does that mean that you throw half a coin to your Witcher?
Yeah. Yes.
I think you sent.
Yeah.
No, well, I think it's more like 78% or something.
Yeah, it's like
78% of a coin
it's like
to your Witcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky me.
What is the difference?
Yeah, they take a bite out of it and then they toss me the rest.
Yeah, they shave a little bit off it with their knife.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why there's perforations on the edges of quarters in the United States and stuff, is because quarters used to be the most common for them to shave off when it was still silver. And so, yeah, that's where they made the perforations.
Counterfeiting, huh?
Exactly. And it's just continued, and it's on dimes and stuff too, but the quarters was the big one. Yeah.
I'm just going to make it so I can show it off.
I've heard multiple things. Ian says it's because so blind people can tell the difference.
Oh yeah, that I've heard. I think that sounds.
I mean, on the nickel and the dime, so on a penny, I don't think it has them, or the nickel, but it starts at the dime. I think have the ridges.
I mean, it's definitely a factor for blind people. That's definitely blind people. A factor.
But all those coins are a little different shape. I mean, if you're a blind person and you can't tell the difference, I think you need to.
Not you guys. I love him. He's going to the gym.
He's going to the gym?
Oh, he took the baby around driving because I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down to draw, and I couldn't get into my channel for some reason, and so when he came back, Annabelle had already fallen asleep, and that's why I had to get off, was to help make bed and get her in it. Here's a new bottle, and make sure she's okay.
That's my last sheet of paper. Okay.
Is she locked down on like a sleep schedule? Or no?
I wish.
Isn't she she's 2 or something?
She's 2. So right now we're still kind of working with, is she asleep?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes she fights it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my daughter certainly did.
How old's yours again? Like 11?
She's 16.
16.
She hangs out with her boyfriend a lot now. In fact, I made a video of him the other day.
Boyfriend.
Yeah. They're so cute together, I swear. They both go to this art, performance art school, and he's like a percussion major and she's a visual arts major, and
he's a drummer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's dating a drummer.
He's so cool though. Like they're really good.
He's so cool.
They're really,
drummers are.
They're really cute together. I gotta be honest. Like, I like them, and she likes them. So I'm really happy because this is like her first like real relationship as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's good all around, but still there's a part of me going, a drummer?
Yeah, but he's not really like a drummer. He's like, anybody can like pick up some sticks and say they're a drummer, but you have to audition to get into this school, and you actually have to know stuff. You know what I mean? It's like a drummer at Juilliard. They're not like a drummer that you find in a band somewhere.
So I forget his name, but the lead singer of Offspring wrote a lot of the songs for like Smash and the self-titled album for the Offspring when he was in high school. And so
these could be his most productive years, Chris. Don't distract him by like telling him not to sleep with your daughter.
Okay, good advice. Thanks, Chuck.
Well, I was thinking more the daughter. I was thinking more the daughter could be focusing on something for her future, but yeah.
Oh yeah, she better get a royalty. Tell her to get a songwriting.
Sign a prenup.
You should start doing some covering. Well, like he's not even in a band, if that tells you anything. I mean, he doesn't want to continue with percussion. He wants to go into basically like film editing. In fact, that's what he was doing. He's taking like some summer class on that. And I was watching that. Have you guys seen the Meyerowitz stories?
No.
It's actually really good, but it kind of speaks to me because of my like family experience. But it's got a great cast, and it's about this. I guess this father that was semi-famous sculptor, and then he's got these kind of dysfunctional kids. He's got these 2 brothers, Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller, and then this daughter. And where am I going with this? Oh, well, at one point, Adam Sandler's daughter she goes off to college, and he explains a couple times in there what she's doing in college, and she's going to an art school, and she's doing film, and the response is always like, all the kids are doing that. And I think the reason that's the response is there's so much more media creation now that it's like more, I don't know if it's a better place to be, but there's certainly more media creation just across the board for everything, not just like constant creators and TikTokers, but like companies are communicating more through video, and media. So I don't know, maybe it's a better time to do that than it was for me.
Who knows? But then there's AI that's thrown into the mix now, and people can say, we can just have AI do it for us.
I've seen some of those video AI demos where they say like, they give it a prompt, and they'll be like, create a video with somebody at a birthday party. And it's kind of very like it's kind of like Mid-Journey. It's trippy and dreamy and would never be confused with real actual video.
It's definitely trippy and dreamy is a good descriptor for
but it's just
those
where it's at for now. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be, who knows where all these things are going to go.
What I kind of see is like when me as an artist, I'm trying to form a drawing. It's amorphous in my mind, and it's like quote unquote perfect in my mind. But I see little bits of it here and there, and so I have to put the whole thing down. And when I'm like looking at the paper, I will kind of sketch in my mind what is there, right? It like so, and then I kind of trace over that sketch in my mind when I'm drawing, right? So I see AI kind of doing the same thing with these videos and stuff that are like trippy dreamy, because it's like a sketch of the idea before it's filled in later with more work.
Right, there's all these processes. Basically, it's saving a lot of time and effort all over the place, and that's what's going to happen, and it's going to do it. And more, like all our time, and then we're going to be like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Well, we better figure it out, hadn't we? Because whatever, like we're way better off than we think. That's the problem, But we're determined to sort of destroy ourselves at the same time. All the solutions are there. We could all be living a very nice, happy lives. But, no, we want to be, for some reason, we like making ourselves miserable all the time.
Some people think that AI is going to open up this era of abundance. I think those people are optimistic about humans.
Yeah.
Well, we're all greedy. We're all like self-interest. It's all the self over the, the whole. Like the self is sort of separate from the whole. The self is full. The sort of self.
I mean,
versus the, the greater organism, I suppose. So I don't know. Yeah.
It seems like we could have already enjoyed something like that because, now we've got like, huge industrial farming and all this other stuff and all these manufacturing facilities. And it seems like we could have already ushered in a period of abundance. And
yeah,
so
we could have done for years. We've known how to do that for a long time.
It's abundant for some, isn't it?
It should be able. It should be perfectly able for all. If it wasn't like for the greed, like there's not a shortage of wealth. Like where's all this fucking wealth? What are we doing with it? We're not doing anything useful with it.
Yeah, we're letting some dragons hoard all the gold.
There's no shortage of time. We're spending all our time watching stupid Marvel movies and all that, which is all very fun. But like people are spending watching all this stuff on TV and Netflix and stuff. Okay, no problem. We're allowed to do it. But then we sort of feel guilty because we've got this sort of crazy Puritan work ethic. We're all supposed to be working like 40, 100 hours a day for some reason.
That's why the movies got to be bigger. Because we don't got as much time, so we got to fill in all that emotion we can't feel that we shove down inside into the moment.
You sounded like some old time Hollywood producer there for a second. It was like, that's why the movies gotta be bigger.
They gotta be bigger.
That's like your equivalent of Chris's Jewish grandmother voice or whatever that is.
So okay, I have an old timey Hollywood producer story, but it involves the Marx Brothers. Do you want to hear it?
I love it. Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so the Marx Brothers were meeting with Meyer of MGM, right? So I forget the other two. Goldwyn is the middle guy, but Meyer was the last guy of the MGM, right? So one of the three owners of MGM, they're meeting the Marx Brothers to see if the MGM wants to bring the Marx Brothers over to MGM.
Oh yes, great story. Yes. Okay.
Well,
wow.
so he kept the Marx Brothers waiting, but it's the Marx Brothers. They didn't appreciate being kept waiting. So what they did is the guy had a big fireplace in his office. And so what they did is they started a fire, and then they like basically had a fire with all their clothes, one piece at a time, until they all ended up naked. And then at that point, they had to get him to come in and talk to the Marx Brothers because, they had naked Marx Brothers in there with like no clothes, and they weren't willing to take clothes until they'd spoke to him naked.
Well, there we go. Well, that's how it used to be, folks, in Hollywood. If that's how you wanted a meeting, that's you had to burn all your clothes. So that's actually, it's quite a good, it's one way to get a meeting. These days, you get yourself escorted out of the
metaphor,
building.
Isn't it?
But they were making a lot of money back then, and it's always very controversial.
You want a meeting, you got to burn your clothes.
Some people say that before that they went to MGM, they were doing better movies. But I have to say, when I was watching we watched some over the pandemic.
They never went to MGM, actually.
Well, wherever they switched to, they switched studios.
They started at Columbia, and then they started at RKO, and then they went to Columbia.
They went to Columbia, yeah. So some people say that the earlier ones were better, and the later ones were the same. But I was going to say when I was watching it, well, let me just finish what I was going to say. When I was watching it with Tina and Sam, they immediately reacted to the bigger budget one and liked it much more than the earlier wacky ones. The earlier wacky ones, they were like, well, don't know, all right, quite funny. But when they saw it, the big budget studio one, they liked it more. But then other people are like, that's the death of the Marx Brothers,
Well, the bigger budget ones have a wider appeal because the stories are stronger, right? But the Marx Brothers weren't about stories; they were about skits, and so the early ones are more true to their vaudeville shows. The later ones are much more refined stories, and they both are good in their own merits. And in Horse Feathers stars a very young Lucille Ball.
Oh, she's in Horse Feathers?
Yeah, she's the love interest.
Which is where near where I used to grow up, where I grew up. She's probably the most famous person out of Jamestown, New York.
Yeah.
That's all I know about her.
That's all you know?
Ball?
No, I mean, I used to watch her show, when it was on, when I was probably like little. Yeah. I don't think it really resonated with me. I think it was probably for the generation before me.
Yeah. I used to watch it with my mom, and my mom used to tell me about the production of the show because she knew so much about the show. She'd read books about it. She grew up with it. She was a fan of the show. And so she would tell me things like there was an episode where they had this giant loaf of bread that comes out of the oven as a gag. And so when she opens the oven, this giant loaf of bread comes out because she used too much yeast, right? And that's the joke. Well, it was a real loaf of bread that they had made up. And so what they did is they cut up the bread when it was done with the scene, and they fed it to the audience with butter.
Well, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like my mom would say, oh, in this episode, blah, blah, blah. And, oh, this is George Reeves. He was the Superman that was on, television. And, see those two actors, they're actually the writers, and they couldn't get actors to play these parts. So they had these writers fill in, and then they ended up playing the parts for the rest of the series. And just all these different tidbits of information. And for me, I developed an appreciation for Lucille Ball because of the technicality of it. They invented the sitcom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, she's she's pretty amazing. And there was some documentary I watched about her and her early life. That was kind of interesting. Like, there was some shit that went down. Like somebody was shot accidentally and stuff in the family, and that was a big tragic thing. And it was very interesting. Like all like her motivations there and all this. And she didn't like Gene Roddenberry. She didn't like what's her name, Nurse Chapel. Gene Roddenberry's girlfriend.
Margot. I can't think of.
Yeah, Margelle, isn't it, or something?
Margaret Bray or something like that.
Yeah, she's the voice of the computer, and she's Deanna Troy's mom, and she's the one that started the Star Trek fan club. So, like, people say, she's maybe more responsible for it continuing than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, at the same time,
but
they wanted to cancel. Desi Liu wanted to cancel Star Trek the first season, right? And Star Trek went, the original Star Trek went for 3 seasons, right? Yes. Well, they wanted to cancel it after the first season, and she said, no, I like it. They wanted to cancel that and the Twilight Zone. And the Twilight Zone ended up going, I want to say...
that was Twilight Zone 2 they did? I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I want to say the Twilight Zone ended up going for 6 or 7 seasons, but Star Trek got canceled after 3 because these loud voices that were on the board of directors for Desilu.
The board of directors.
Lucy was the only female, head of a board ever for like many, many years, and held that title for many, many years. Like there wasn't a female head of a corporate board before her. So I think that's kind of awesome too, that, she muscled into a lot of masculine spaces. And, as a woman, I can appreciate that.
Saw a great movie with her the other day with her and Bob Hope. It was a good like parents movie. They were like they were in the same sort of parents circle of sort of doctors and all this sort of stuff, and it was all a bit boring, and they're at the country club, and it starts off with him giving a speech at the country club, and she's like, oh my god, this fucking boring ass sort of thing. And then they're all supposed to be going on a holiday, like they go in a sort of group holiday, but everyone else gets sick for whatever reason. And sort of she and him going on the plane, they sort of realise they went to the same high school. And then they have this really nice little vacation together, and they have like this little sort of kind of romance thing going on. But then they try and keep it going when they get back. But it doesn't really work, it does, like life gets in the way, and it was really sort of realistic, I thought, about how it was.
You did say it was a Bob Hope movie.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't silly. It wasn't at all silly. It was like quite serious. It wasn't at all silly. It was really good actually. And they sort of had this thing, and they were trying to like get together on the sly in between like all the family stuff going on, and it couldn't ever work out because it was always just like this sort of dream vacation. But it was so I thought it was good comedy and real, and I was like, oh, that was quite good. Yeah. And it was her and him, and I thought they were both at their best. It was really funny. Yeah.
Good.
And they were young. It was like a 50s thing, so it was sort of black and white. Well, he was, his chops were more up, I suppose. But yeah, their chops were up at that point.
Let's see. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna put the tall stranger. He has to be over here somewhere.
I'm either gonna take a nap, get off the call, or wait, have a drink, or maybe a combination of one of those three.
Have a drink.
Well,
right.
if you sleep and take a nap, that's not good territory for a podcast.
Well, hopefully,
if I'm taking a nap, you guys, I won't have to do much talking.
Were you there? Were you there when Dale fell asleep?
Yes, I was. Yes,
Really?
I was.
That was like the ultimate. That was the ultimate low in hosting.
Yeah, no, I was. Remember, I'm the one that turned him off.
Dale fell asleep?
We had Janae. Janae was like taking a
great.
peek to see if he was still alive. So I was a bit worried he just like died at the show. And we would.
No, he just.
He didn't seem to be moving.
When was this?
This is when I was doing my all-day marathon.
Oh yeah, well, all right. I'm gonna turn myself off for a second and get a beverage.
Ooh,
I'll
a
be-
beverage.
Why don't you do that?
I'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Here.
I'll loosen things
I
up. Now
will-
it will be like the Dean Martin show.
Yeah, I will be the small window, and then that way people can see people.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well-
How's the Kickstarter? Where are we at?
Well, that's been really exciting. Should we check in?
Yeah.
Let's see if it can remember where it is. Kickstarter. There we go. Earth Space Beyond. It's earthspace.com. If anybody's looking for it. I think if you're watching the show, maybe you've seen. Oh my god, I'm up to 4961. I'm nearly at 5,000.
That's amazing.
Share the window here.
Yeah, share the window. Okay, here, I will turn off my window. All right, I'll turn off your other window. Share it.
Oh, wait. Oh, Chrome tab. Here we go.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. You are within spitting distance.
Well, I'm past my goal, but yeah, I'm in spitting distance of 5,000.
Yeah. Did you have any stretch goals past the 450 or
Uh,
4500?
no, only to have you flown out for the launch party.
Oh, well,
How
that's
much does that
nice.
cost?
I have no idea, like 200 something, but
All right.
you
Well,
know.
then that I think we covered that.
Oh, well, that would be nice to see you
Would you
guys.
come if I flew? If I can fly you out for? Will you come?
Of course I would come.
I mean,
Like why wouldn't I come?
all right. Well, that's the stretch goal. I mean, 5,000. Oh well, I feel like that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we should do that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we should enjoy that for a second. And I'll put me over on this side and you over on that side with your art.
Now, is
And
anybody? Yeah. I mean, if anybody here has got any other stretch goals, but yeah, I'll commit to that. I mean, assuming it's like a couple of $100 or something, and not
well, no,
$1,000.
I don't. Gosh, the sooner we buy our ticket, the better. But I would have to talk
Yes.
to Ian about that and make sure it's cool with him and stuff because we would have to get the ticket first, and then you'd have to reimburse us. And,
Yeah. I'm going to
don't
be
worry,
away.
I'll show you my receipt and stuff.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No worries. I'm going to be away at the weekend, and sorting stuff out again. Then back on the ground next week. So yes, let's sort that out.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Well, that'll be
That was
awesome.
always in my mind for a little stretch goal if we went a little bit over. So.
Yay! Yeah, but I mean, you're within spitting distance of 5,000. That's awesome.
Yes.
Here, I'm gonna turn off this off that screen, and we are gonna look at you drawing. Oh no, sorry, you drawing. We'll do this.
But we've still got 14 hours to go. So what other stretch goals could we get?
Like I said, I always think if you're only gonna make like 100 CDs, go zine with the little booklet you put inside and just make it custom.
Yeah, that's the intention. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's already been the plan. Yes.
And so I saw this thing that's just it blew my mind. That was from the Victorian age, and it was a book that had a string wrapped around it. And when you undid the string, you pulled the cover of the book up like this, so it created like a tunnel, and it was Alice in Wonderland going down the rabbit hole when you look down the top. And so it had, different layers of different elements in the tunnel. That was all done with paper. And so, it wasn't done like very three-dimensionally. It was just multiple layers of paper that create the illusion of the tunnel. And then it had like very delicate paper keeping it the right distance away, when you pulled it, so it kept it all attached. It looked very cool.
All right. Well, for circuitous thinking, Amber, have you ever seen the Mighty Boosh? Do you know anything about the Mighty Boosh?
No.
All right. Well, I don't know where to begin. Check out the Mighty Boosh if you can.
Okay.
It's good. Kids like it too. It's fun to watch with kids all in there. A bit like, what the hell?
Should I worry?
I watched a bit. Yeah, I don't know. Well, you should watch a little bit. It's really good. It's a little while. It's a British show. It was on Adult Swim.
Okay.
A few years back, but it's a few years old now. But it's really worth checking out. If you like all that sort of Monty, I don't know. I won't say exactly Monty Python, but I mean it's like. It's another level, another generation of British comedy, I suppose.
Okay, so it's a British comedy. That's all you had to tell me.
Yes, if you like that sort of thing, but it's a very sort of they're very funny and it's its own very unique thing, and they've got like they've got it's sort of got a poetry to it. There's really two of them, and they started out like a lot of things. I guess they probably started out doing fringe stuff, but they did like. They did a show on the radio of the Mighty Boosh, and they sort of work at the zoo. There's an American guy in it who's he's a really weird, funny guy as well. Oh my god, he's totally mad. And Matt Berry Matt Berry in Mighty Boosh. I don't think Matt Berry shows up in Mighty Boosh, but he did another show with this American guy called Snuffbox. That's totally weird. Do you know Matt Berry from? Now he's in What We Do in the Shadows.
Which character does he play?
He's like the British one. Yeah,
I've seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ian and we've only been able to watch about 4 episodes. It's hard to watch something. It's too scary for Annabelle. It's not a scary show.
No,
but for Annabelle, there's vampires and
Yeah.
blood gushing and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And she had nightmares, and so we can't watch
Oh
it.
yeah, no, that's Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god. Well, that's
No.
That means she's bright anyway. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I also made the mistake of watching
nightmares. I
T2
don't know.
with her too.
My friend's kid had nightmares from Clifford the Big Red Dog. He couldn't watch any telly whatsoever. It was quite funny. Now he's a major video game nerd. So
So it's come around. Now he is the kaiju.
Yes, exactly.
Because Clifford is a kaiju.
Clifford was a kaiju. Yes.
Yes, think about it.
The reason I'm not responding is because I don't know what a kaiju is.
A kaiju is a giant animal.
Fluffy dog.
Well, it's Godzilla.
Right.
To you, it's Godzilla.
Godzilla is a kaiju, but he is not the only kaiju.
No,
What about King
There is
Kong?
also Gamera.
King John is a
turtle.
kaiju. King Kong
What
is
about
a kaiju.
Mothra?
Mothra is
is a
a
kaiju.
giant moth.
Yeah,
I
he's
knew
a kaiju. A kaiju though. Mothra's a kaiju. Yeah, he's right. You're on the money.
There's also Mecha Godzilla that is a man-made kaiju.
Mecha Godzilla? He's
Yeah.
like
Mecha
a,
Godzilla.
Mecha
He
Godzilla.
goes evil, and Godzilla must defeat him for good.
I gotta tell you, of all
I
these
think it was-
animals, my favorite. Oh, don't forget about Gamera. Is it Gamera?
Oh yeah,
Gamera is a turtle.
I think I'd say
Yeah.
Gamera.
Yeah, Gamera was one of my favorites when I was a kid. But I found Mothra to be the funniest because who is scared of a moth?
Oh, I was terrified of moths. What are
really?
you talking about? I was terrified of moths.
You don't remember that Gamera, had the love of children that guided his conscience?
Well, that's probably why I liked him. I mean, I can't remember why I liked him, but I just liked him. That big turtle that it could throw, like Gamera could throw. I think these like throwing stars. Didn't he have like a throwing star capacity where he could just like?
He had
threw
jets that
something.
came out of his shell when he went into his shell to travel, and he'd like rotate around in circles with the jets spinning, at either things. But the jets were really just fireworks.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
probably the cities he crushed weren't real either.
Ooh, did
I don't
either
know.
of you see Shin Godzilla?
Shin Godzilla?
I don't think so.
Oh, I saw this a year or two back. My son insisted on it. It's the new version of Godzilla, and it was really great. Godzilla was really weird and creepy, but the filming was excellent. But it was really very sort of Japanese, and the people were always just people in grey suits in corporate boardrooms, and like everything was really naturalistic. And then when Godzilla first comes, he's like in a sort of larval stage, and he's got these really weird googly eyes, but he's all really realistic and coming down the street. And it was amazing. It was like, oh, what? It was strange. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, you've got to check out Shin Godzilla. And they've got some another one coming out. I think it might be Shin Mothra or Shin Gamera or something coming out. I don't know.
So like, what a Shin is like? That's a particular like style of doing these monsters. Is that
Well, I didn't know, but then I saw like he bought a packet of red noodles with hot pepper, that like just cheap noodles, like hot. They were Shin noodles in the red packet. So I'm like, what's Shin?
Yeah.
He seemed to have a better idea than me. I can't really tell you.
Okay,
It's like, but it's either that kind of Godzilla or this. It's like far. To me, because he was quite fiery, he had like really powerful laser. But it was also to like sort of basic or spicy. It's like basic red spicy.
God, I kind of want to rewatch some of these movies now because I went to a page.
Oh, they're awesome. There's a
Yeah.
lot of them on Amazon right now. If you don't have Amazon, there's a lot of them on Apple TV. You can find some on
I like
YouTube. You can find them on Hulu.
I'm trying to figure out if this throwing star thing was a Gamera thing, or it was somebody else, and I found this Gamera versus Giron. It looks like Guiron, and Giron is this thing that has like basically a knife blade for its head. It's like a giant knife blade creature. And I remember seeing that as a kid. I probably haven't seen it for over 30 years.
And how did it make you feel?
Well, when I was a kid, I loved monster movies.
Oh, yeah.
I was scared. I would like at night, I would go from room to room turning on the lights and turning off the lights because I was scared.
Oh, but, yeah, my friend's kid did that. Oh, that's funny. He was a bit odd, but he grew out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody grows out of it, but I loved being scared by these monster movies.
He was like, he goes from room to room, turning on and off the lights.
Yeah. Well, right, because, I mean, then you can at least see if the monster's in there, so you gotta, but you have to navigate it carefully, you know? You don't want to spend too much time in darkness. That just gives the monster extra time.
Yeah,
but I creature feature all the like Japanese monster movies, the American monster movies too, like them and stuff like that.
Have you ever seen Valley of the Tarantulas?
Is that one of those atomic anxiety films that came out in like the 50s where it's giant tarantulas? Yes.
There are giant tarantulas in it, and it also stars William Shatner.
Oh yeah, I saw that, but that was a shitty movie in my opinion. I mean,
it is a shitty movie. That's one of its charms.
Yeah, but it just didn't scare me. Like I wanted to be scared, and like that movie was not scared. I think he comes outside and there's webs all over, and there's
my favorite scary movie is The Thing.
Well, that's scary though.
Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah, like all of them. And
I occasionally like to watch it from the perspective of The Thing, where it's just a scared creature that just wants to get back to space.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I think it makes it scarier to not try to empathize with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have the board game. I have the board game, but when you come over, we'll try and play that then, because you need a few people to play it.
Okay, yeah, I haven't played the board game.
You know what's crazy about the so for a period for maybe like 6 months, I went back to 70s horror films, and I thought the 70s stuff was so much scarier than the contemporary stuff. This is about 2010. So I went back and I saw the original, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh god, that was the scariest shit ever. Yeah.
Yeah, like I saw who are the other people like in that area? Like was it John Carpenter or who did The Brood?
Oh, that was that Cronenberg.
Yeah, Cronenberg. Yeah, was it Cronenberg?
Oh, Cronenberg. I don't know. Cronenberg's still making films though. I mean, I didn't see his most recent one, but I usually get.
But some of that stuff, like Rabid, The Brood.
Rabid, yeah, that was pretty terrible.
Like that stuff I find that a lot scarier than the modern stuff. Like.
So you like that, did you?
Yeah, I mean, it made me feel something. It made me like feel alive.
Yeah, I loved all the monster movies and stuff like that. Some was too scared. I remember being really scared of I'd get scared. I'd be fine with things, and then I'd get scared of them, like Hammer horrors. I watched some Hammer horrors, and then there was one of those that terrified me, and then I couldn't watch that anymore. I watched all the Universals probably. I love those. I think I saw it they showed them. They would show them on like a Saturday night on the BBC, like old enough where I could, when I was probably around about 10 to 12, that sort of age or something, where I was still, or maybe younger, even like 9, and. I definitely watched all of those, like right through to the sort of later ones.
Like when I left to make a drink, text my daughter, and go outside and cover some of my plants. That woman that you were doing was not nearly as developed, and now she's like at pinup. She's like pre-pinup status now.
Yeah. Well, it's worked out well.
It happens.
Yeah. What happened in that time?
Yeah, I mean, you did step away, and he did continue drawing.
I know,
on the other hand, I noodled at like at least another person. No,
yes.
I mean it's starting to fill in a little bit. Like you can see kind of where I'm going with it.
Comics are so bloody slow. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how to go as quickly as you can, and that's the only answer.
That's I that's kind of my style now also. Like it's almost like reckless. It's like a balance between reckless and what I realized after recording for a long time, more than 10 years, is that the initial recordings have something special a lot of the time. And my old school thinking was that you basically hone something and you get it really good. And the way you do that is by doing it again and again and again and making
Mm-hmm.
like each iteration is better. But then, like I said, what I realized, and the reason I realized this was because when when you record a track, you keep all your old takes. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
do, myself included. And I opened up a song that I had done like 30 takes on, and I went back to the very first takes that I had done like a month before, and I was like, "Oh, that's better." And
Yeah.
it was really disappointing in a way, but informative in another way.
Yeah.
And then I realized a lot of times the stuff out the gate is really good. So
Yeah, you just need to step away from it a bit.
yeah,
Because it's like,
yeah.
when you first did it, you know all the things that you didn't do the way you meant to do it. And they
Yeah.
didn't quite come out the way you meant.
Well,
but then you redo it, you don't really improve it ever.
But when I first do it, I'm not thinking about it. I just do it, right? By the time I get to a 10th take or a 20th take, I'm very much trying to do certain things. I'm very dialed into what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And a lot of times that works against me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly. It's that. Yeah, it works against you, and oh well, sorry.
it's not like like the music that we put out. It's not like we don't do take after take after take, but you'd be surprised at how many of those things that we ended up using are in the first 3 takes, or how many are in the first take. Because I'm like, yeah, it's just so. But it took me like a long time, a long, tedious, frustrating time to learn that. Like,
Yeah.
I wish somebody like just.
What?
Yeah.
Just like taught you?
Well, yeah. Well, maybe, but like I'm one of those people, like Chuck said earlier. Like I don't necessarily trust people because of their station, or even and I go through a lot of like self-verification. Like I have to verify things on like my own terms, and that takes a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe this is just the way it had to be for me.
Yeah.
I have had instructors over the years, but never at like that level. Like I'm talking about like the top like production creative level, as opposed to some of these kind of like the lower like technical stuff. Like, oh, you're playing you're dragging your kick drum, your snare is out of time, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to coach at that top level, It's like hard to coach at that like producer level, I think.
A friend of mine was a musicologist who she passed away a couple years ago. But she was talking about how they brought her into a musical once to fix the musical, right? And because for whatever reason, these were some of the most amazing players in the world, but they just couldn't get them to sound good. And so she, why is it not working, right? And it all came down to them not practicing together.
Yeah,
they all practice separately.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, yeah.
So, like when I was in bands, and I still am in a band, but we never like get in the same room together. My
You starting to sound a bit bitter about that.
Yeah, I don't like it. I wish we did get in a room together, because to me that's the most.
Are you going to get in a room together at the Earth Space book launch event on September the 9th, Saturday, September the 9th, which is now definitely going ahead?
I'd like to respond to this, but I'd first like you to check all of our listeners for the names of my bandmates. I would be into it. I don't think they're going to do it. I just feel like they're, at least one of them is pretty checked out. So
okay.
I also pretty sure that they're not in here right now. I hope they aren't. I've probably said as much over, several band meetings, but
yeah. Well,
yeah. Well, tell us what you really think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty direct about stuff, so
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where this conversation is going, but
well, you guys have been doing some good stuff, and
we do good stuff, but I feel like for me, part of the fun parts of a band are like you're in a room together, you play live shows together, you hang out together, you write together,
Yeah.
And we're basically doing 2 meetings a week. Half of them get canceled because my bandmates have some scheduling conflict. It's like we took all the fun parts out of the band and just left the tedious ones.
Yeah. No, that's no good. And also, okay, it was fine during the pandemic. Everybody was distance, but now, people want to be doing things with people again.
Yeah,
I think somewhat.
And
hopefully.
We're quite spread out. One person's in Phoenix, the other person's in Seattle, effectively. So,
I mean, can you start another band?
That would also be another reason why they probably don't want to come down and do the gig.
Well, I feel like if anybody is gonna, I feel like this is probably the best market for what we do.
Yeah.
But nobody has even said let's play Phoenix. Why don't we organize this Phoenix thing? Or let's play Seattle. Let's organize the Seattle thing. And then, before you play a show, you need, I mean, if you're going to play a full set, you probably need a minimum of a month out of steady practicing. Oh, but I know what I was going to say. So yeah, Amber, my attitude has always been, you practice you practice independently to learn the part, and then when you get together, you learn how to play it with others. You're learning this dance. You're learning the dance.
That was it. And so the thing that she pointed out was there was a tap dancing bit that the tap was out of tune with the music was out of tune with the tap. Right? Because the dancers were practicing with the dancers and the musicians were practicing with the musicians, but they weren't coming together and incorporating the tap into the music. Right? And it just is interesting. And so you're absolutely right that they all learned their parts, but they weren't playing those parts together. And so that's all she did was just had them practice together. And over and over and over again until they picked up on each other's cues.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like dancing. You might dance on your own to learn your particular choreography, but if you don't practice with that partner before the competition, forget it.
Yeah,
and music is very similar.
Yeah, of course.
That's.
Yeah, I'm drawing pheasants.
Yeah, I know.
I'm drawing pheasant people.
This is
keep talking about each other.
It's like I'm just watching Chuck develop Raquel Welch here.
Now I think I shall draw weasel people.
I had a cool idea for when you guys are drawing together.
Yeah.
You could do the thing where your panes are you set up your panes in this stream early on. And then, somebody draws the top half of the character and somebody draws the bottom half of the character.
Yeah.
That's
that
a good
would
idea.
Be cool.
Consequences or whatever. Exquisite corpse.
Well, you'd be dancing, Yeah. I don't know. There's some videos that came out over the pandemic like that, where people would pour drinks from the top pane, and then it would go down into the lower pane, and somebody would have their mouth open and get the.
Yeah, TikTok had a lot of that stuff.
There's a band in San Francisco called, I want to say Tao and the Get Down, Stay Down. They had the music was really great, but they put together this pandemic video where basically it was all this interaction across video panes.
See, if they can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, I think I'd be doing it a little, right. I'd personally be doing it a little bit late at this point. I wish I came up with that. But yeah,
Oh no, I just meant coordination over the internet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we try.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can find these guys.
Yeah, I was watching Judge Grace when you guys usurped my channel, stole it out from under me.
Did you get an alert? Were you like, bing, bing, bing?
No, I tried to stream, and it wouldn't let me in because you guys were streaming.
That's how we roll. We're serial supers.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, fine. Well, I was going to draw anyway, so I guess I'll just draw and talk to you guys.
Sorry, did I forget to tell you about this show?
You put up a show that you said was at 2 a.m. Are you sure that was the right time?
Where?
Check your Facebook messages because I was like 2 a.m. on that post. Yeah, so you
for this
check,
one.
It might have been this one. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I must have the wrong time zone or something.
It's possible.
This is a bummer. I think. I'm trying to find this video so you guys can't watch it. I think I'm gonna stop. I was just curious to see if she's still doing something because San Francisco, there's always this debate about like how dead the scene is here.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend Joe in LA, who is pretty tuned into stuff, was like, something's going on in San Francisco, and he gave me the name of a few bands, and I bought some tickets, and me and Chuck went out and saw them, and it was good. It really was good. And he was like saying that there's some kind of scene here.
There was a weird scene though. There's some weird new scene.
I mean, it wasn't that weird, though. What do you mean by weird?
The guy singing about dead rabbits or something. I don't know what he was going on about.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's the guy we went to see.
He wasn't the one we were supposed to see.
No,
I thought he was the headliner. I thought he was the main act.
So I got kind of confused.
Dead rabbits?
Yeah, it's not about pregnancy, I don't think. But was it about pregnancy?
All right, I am taking a quick break. I will be back. I need to reposition the fan. Yeah, I'll be back.
I think, Chuck, what you should do is like you should draw the guest like in real time. I think that'd be fun. Like you draw, like instead of drawing, well, this hot sexy girl is a lot of fun too, actually, but
the thing is, like, drawing the
guest.
That's a different thing. It puts me in a different zone, and it puts me in, like, being a sort of a live caricaturist, which is what, like, Greg, I've got my friend Stan Yan. I should get Stan on the show.
Which is kind of high pressure.
Yeah, I should get Stan on the show. There's a lot of people I haven't asked to be on the show because I've been a bit busy, and I've been letting Amber ask people on the show, but... I'm
trying to do this in a flattering way. I think you might want to adjust this because I'm not doing it.
Oh yeah, let me put
make the girl the big.
Raquel.
How do you do that? How do you flip it like that?
Just drag from one to the other with.
It's easier than I thought.
Yeah.
The computers are getting so useful. Oh, you actually put that in there. Was that in there before?
No, I just put that in towards the end there. I don't know. Raquel Welch, she says, "I'm proud to be Latina." I was trying to find a quote to say. But I did hear about it. I didn't really realise... I never really thought about her being Latina till when she died, so... All right.
I didn't know she was. I thought she was Italian.
Well, she sort of got a bit of crossover with Sophia Loren, and she was probably in a lot of those sort of Italian movies and things.
Oh, that's true. I do confuse those two beautiful women from before my time.
Well, you shouldn't really. Raquel Welch, I've totally got the hots for her. She's like the hottest woman ever. And
Sophia Loren, they're both like super, super hot. I could tell them apart, I think.
But Sophia Loren never ran around being chased by dinosaurs or being shrunk down and injected into people.
Well,
all these things that Raquel Welch did. Raquel Welch did some good comedy. She like Sophia Loren. Yeah, she was classy.
Oh, I think what you're saying is like Raquel Welch would be like more fun to hang with. Like she had a sense of humor and stuff.
Well, she's my girl. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, she's your girl. What do you have there, Amber? Wait, is that Is that Cookie Crisp cereal? Is that what is that?
It's s'mores cereal.
Oh, I remember s'mores cereal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because graham crackers get soggy in milk, and we can't have that.
Mm-mm.
So, what do we have?
I think it's time to go to bed now anyway. And we're
Yeah,
supposed to be doing a show in the morning too.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I mean, we're still on. I still have this show on the calendar for the morning.
Am I
But
supposed
that
to
was
be
going to
at
be like the final Kickstarter countdown.
Am I supposed to be doing that?
Yeah.
This is
Sweet.
my dessert, so yes, this is me having my dessert instead of ice cream or something.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, we don't
is
have to do the show in the morning, but I feel like that was always the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be there. I forgot.
I
lost track of
I
time.
did 3 drawings. That's quite
All
good.
this hype-
I did
Yeah,
I
that's pretty
know,
good.
dude.
Lady Witcher Amber.
I
And
roughed in my people,
space.
and now I'm working on some of the detail for my people.
Like it.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, these are like just
I'm
new
gonna
sketches.
start drawing on this show too. That'll
Well,
be a
you're
real
good
treat.
doodler. You're a doodler.
I'll finish for every one of Chuck's. I'll finish probably about 5 because I spend no longer than maybe like 2 minutes on anything. I mean, I do amazing work like this. Oh, you can't see it. You still can't see it.
Wait, are your doodle?
Can't
Yeah,
see
you
it.
got to turn off your virtual background.
No, then you'll see how messy my place is.
That's why mine's on.
See this guy? I mean, this is also. I have a miniature whale series that is quite amazing.
Listen,
And
if you want to have a popular show, you have to have a nice, tidy background.
I do.
course.
Right?
Like you look at
There
all
it
the
is.
popular YouTubers; they've all got nice, tidy backgrounds.
Yeah, they do. But a lot of times when I see those, I think bullshit.
You're calling bullshit on those people?
Well,
Yeah,
well,
we're
just
true. We
because-
are more authentic.
Well, it's just because anybody that like adopts a certain manner of speaking and has a clean background and acts confident, like they can con so many people because there's a lot of people online that are just like, I don't know anything, and so how do I figure out who to learn from? And you're like, oh, it's the guy with the clean background that speaks confidently. So I think a lot of those people are mostly presentation, you know. See, I know you're authentic, Chuck, because look at the background you're in. There's a whole bunch of stuff behind you.
I've got a
It doesn't-
skeleton behind me. Oh wait,
There's-
like
So
can't
if
even
it
that's the
looks
camera.
like
This
a
is the camera.
QAnon conspiracy video, you think it's authentic?
That's right. I know that guy is a real like cartoonist. If that's what it looks like
Have
behind
you guys
him.
have you guys watched the Pentaverate, the Mike Myers show on Netflix?
You're talking about it, but yeah.
Well, you gotta watch it. It's pretty funny. Yeah.
No, I'm just enjoying the last of my cereal before I sign off with you boys.
Oh my God, cereal.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're coming back in the morning, oh my God, yes. Well, I have to. Okay, guys. Oh my God, Kickstarter backers. Thank you, viewers. We seem to have had some viewers through the show. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
you're talking to somebody about me at the very beginning of
Chuck.
me popping in.
Chuck mostly.
yeah. Well, that's what we got started. We said, oh, they're probably on Amber's Twitch. That's how we got started talking about you. They were probably here because they heard the Captain T announcement.
Captain T.
Sorry. Yes, I was going to ask you. So the
ask-
announcement didn't go that great. Yeah. All right. Well,
Ask
okay.
your doctor.
They just said it's coming, and that was it.
Ask your doctor if Captain T is right for you.
That sounds good, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's going on? I don't know anything about Keenspot. I was trying to explain to Chris what it all is.
And I
Keenspot, Modern
I
Tales.
kind of got some of it.
Well, you're doing a
In
fantastic
the
job.
early days of the internet,
Yes,
before Google,
I'm with you.
people, would have comics that would they put them on their website. And how do people find you? You'd have to get yourself listed on all these different search engines and stuff like that. So Keenspot basically became a hub for a bunch of web comics that were doing well already on the internet, and that's where they started. And so they still are a hub of web comics, but they've expanded into television and movies and other kinds of things like video games and stuff like that. And they're still at the heart is web comics. So you produce it, it builds an audience, and then they sell it with the audience.
So he's developed a whole little pipeline for Keen Spot into Hollywood, and he's worked his way doing
Yes,
that,
he has.
building it up. Yeah.
Oh,
that's very good, and that's very good, and he's giving you opportunity. I mean, yes, so yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do with Earth Space in about 3 weeks. I don't know when are we going to LA?
Well, that's coming up. Yeah, we're going to go. First, I got this party, launch party. First, I've got to finish the Kickstarter. All right, it's not finished till tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. So there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time for every computer user in the world to log on and donate me the entire contents of their bank accounts between now and tomorrow morning.
$1. No, that's several $billion.
Don't forget,
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I either need 1 billion people to give me $1 or one person to give me $1 billion.
And winningness rubs off on people. So now that we're big winners and we've reached our goal, it's time to contribute.
It's a little fire. I feel like it's like a little fire. It's like a survivor fire.
You want to be part of a winning Kickstarter,
which you will be if you contribute right now.
Yeah.
Well, this one's from my heart, and all that music and everything. I mean, it's so fantastic. I can't believe it's happened. I was a little worried. If it was going to get there, I have to say. But...
I could see why you were a little worried, but at the same time, it seems like it's a good project that people seem to be backing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you guys. You guys encouraged me and inspired me.
I have encouraged you. I've not been able to support by giving $1. I'm a terrible friend.
It's never required, but always appreciated if anybody wants to.
Well, I mean, Amber, you were supporting for like all the weeks that led up to this,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Going. You should give to the Earth Space Kickstarter. Which,
I know, Amber, that you're really the secret donor.
You want to be on a winning team.
I know that you're the secret donor. I know that you donated secretly. I'm sure you donated secretly under an alias, Amber, and you're one of those people that gave me a lot of summer money.
What's that purple cat?
I wish I could take permission for that, but
there's some very good people out there.
What's the purple cat's name?
Spontaneous.
No. What was it? It was something else. The cat, like the cat that you put on the purple cat animation.
Mocat.
Yeah, yes, Mocat. Yeah. So look for Mocat. Look for Mocat in there, Chuck.
Yeah, Mocat. Oh my gosh! Since I went to 64 gigabytes for my RAM, Mocat is so smooth now. His eyebrows work. Yeah, his eyebrows didn't work before.
Is he smoother to the touch?
He's just smooth like butter now. When I decide to use Mocat in my regular stream.
Upgraded Mocat.
Yeah.
Well, I like Mocat. I miss Mocat, but I got to say, I don't know, when Amber says things, I take them seriously. When Mocat says things, I'm highly skeptical.
I like Mocat a lot. I was almost going to do my own version of Mocat called Brocat. And
the world does not want Brocat right now. The world is not waiting for Brocat.
Well, I mean, I asked you what software that was, and I was like, I'm gonna be Brocat on our next.
Oh my gosh! I will make a Brocat for you. They have a hat, right, as one of the accessories that you can put on him, and so I can turn that hat backwards on him. and have him wearing the hat backwards, so he'd be like a bro. Give him sunglasses.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of already a Brocat.
Do I have to change my voice?
There's a voice modulator in that program in Animes. So if you wanted to change your voice,
when I'm down, I party. And when I'm really down, nothing stokes my. I'll have to work on it. Have you
Is
seen
that your Trump?
No, my Trump's probably better than that.
That's like Surfer Trump.
Well, I was trying to do like kind of the Trustafarian surfer guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It sounded like the Surfer Trump, yeah.
Yeah, have you seen the interruptions of like city council meetings by these guys like on TikTok?
I don't think I have. I don't have a TikTok, so I don't really watch.
I'm stay off TikTok. It's
Did
like
you-
it's like the fucking.
Did
pod
you
people.
give it up? Were you
It's
like,
the
this is
pod-
unhealthy? I'm getting off TikTok?
No, I just never got it.
First time I went
Yeah.
on TikTok, Amber, it said, "Let me look at your contacts." It said, none of your contacts are on TikTok. But like slowly they start to succumb, and then all they're doing is like, "Oh, TikTok's really good."
I have said no
My
to
friend
that.
said to me, "I like looking at gorillas and giraffes and things that make me mad about Donald Trump."
I don't. I don't
have a
give.
friend that sends me a bunch of TikTok videos.
You do?
It's like random stuff. I'm like,
It is, yeah.
okay, yeah, sure. There you go.
No, stay off it. Stay off it. The Chinese
Yeah.
children are all getting educational programming on their TikToks.
Yeah, they're getting educational programming, and Americans are getting stuff like dance videos. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, right. The Chinese TikTok is actually helping the Chinese population,
Yeah,
where
Chinese
for us
Chinese
it's turning
TikTok
us into
is like
oatmeal.
literally an IQ stealing machine. It's stealing the IQ from us, feeding it to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've done studies on that, on the difference in content that's shown. You know,
Yeah,
but,
I mean, they do see different content, and I don't know if it's all like they try to skew it like in a positive educational way, but they definitely censor more. So I don't know what they're stripping out of TikTok.
well, the People's Party of China, the People's Republic of China, is very, very adamant about keeping a very positive image of the People's Republic of China.
Now, if you're watching the show in the People's Republic of China, you can back me for the digital rewards. Unfortunately, I can't ship the books to China. But, if you want to private message me, we can work something out. But I'm not going to make it in an NFT format for you.
Also, if it helps you back us better, we support Chinese TikTok's positive image of your country. Or if you disagree
yes.
with that, then we and it helps you.
Really?
donate to
I
us.
love
We
Kung
support
Fu
the People's
movies.
Republic.
I love Kung Fu movies. I mean, let's be honest here.
I love your
If
fried
we're talking
rice.
about exported culture, that's a big part of their culture that they've exported.
The Kung Fu
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, they're very important to
What-
the
what
Chinese
about-
people.
What about the
But-
stir frying? Don't
Oh,
leave
but-
that out.
Oh, well, food is also very important.
Yeah.
Pandas.
Fireworks.
Yeah,
writing.
not to mention
Gunpowder.
the natural resources that they have. They have some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world in
Some of
China.
the beautiful landscape. I've
you
always
would-
wanted to visit China. Actually, I would love to visit China.
If
Yeah.
you don't have any, is it yuan? Is it yuan? Is that the currency? If you don't have any yuan available, you can also pledge to Chuck with precious national resources, such as rare
Yeah,
metals.
I'm
Rare
realizing
metals.
my products might be a little expensive for Chinese people. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the shipping.
Well, the digital rewards. If you're from China, let me know. If you're desperate, if you're watching this in China and you're desperate to get a hold of one of my books, I'll make you a special price.
And he'll package it in like that discretion wrapping that in America we get pornography in. So when it shows up on your door, you will not be censored. Right, Chuck?
Oh,
Well-
it's getting unwrapped at customs.
I don't think it's like it's more. I
What
know
is
I've
this
offended.
book?
I've offended Catholics and I've offended Protestants with this book so far. So
Really?
yeah.
How so?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I probably. I don't know
It's a
directly that I've
space
offended
nun,
Catholics, but I've
isn't
got
it?
Space Nun, and they don't like. And I know there's some people that don't like anything with nuns. So
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a space nun.
yeah.
I figured.
And then I've got Orangina, who is like selling oranges at the theatre after the Puritan, and then I start going on about the Puritans, and thank God we don't have any Puritans. My Protestant friend got a bit upset. But that's only because she knows.
How dare you attack the Puritans?
You know, because she knows I'm always ranting on about the Puritans.
Well, I mean, the Puritans were so uptight they got kicked out of England. You know?
No, they won the Civil War. They chopped the king's head off.
Yeah, and
then they persecuted everybody. They persecuted everybody for 12 long bloody years till Cromwell died. And when Cromwell died, I don't know, they sort of felt it infighting, and then everybody else was like, okay, let's bring back King Charles II to get some fucking order back, because this guy's brought the plague back, they brought the plague back, they brought all this. Then they started coming over here going, oh, we were persecuted.
The plague? How do you bring the plague back?
The plague was like all rampant, rampant. That's why they had to, I mean, it was a real 12 years of Cromwell. It was a fucking disaster.
Is that like bringing sexy
back? They ran
back?
the place for 12
Do you write a song about it and
years.
the plague just shows up, or what?
Now we burn them in effigy. Talking about Guy Fawkes, he's like a Puritan. He wears the Puritan hat, and we burn him on the bonfire every November 5th, saying this guy is awake. Because he's a Puritan, but he goes back to the original Burning Man. We're burning our fucking guy on the thing. Yeah.
As modern hygiene. And so when you're saying, like, why did they bring the plague back? It's because they got fleas from rats because they weren't washing their bodies. A lot of Puritans and stuff still didn't believe in like water being clean at all.
So they science or something.
They're drunken. They're drinking beer as their daily drink, and not washing themselves.
Yeah, that's what I disagree with. I like the first part though.
Yeah, the drunkenness.
I will support that. Yeah. Well,
that was everybody. That was everybody in their time. But right around the time that the Puritans came over to the United States was around the time that Europe was starting to go, you know what? Maybe we should be drinking this water stuff after it's been boiled.
I want to go back in time so I can be like the healthiest person in the world and also a guru who's fixing everybody. Like kings and queens will come to me.
Are you going to go back in time and be Merlin, basically?
Are you going to bring antibiotics and a doctor with you?
No, but I'm just going to say, like, hey, man, get those leeches off you. The night air isn't going to kill you. Take a bath once in a while. Here's some vitamin C.
Yeah, good luck with that. That's really going to work out great with all those religious fanatics around. They're really going to listen to that and not want to burn you on a fire.
I might get killed.
What they're going to hear is when you say have some vitamin C, and they're going to be taking the oranges and rubbing it on the wounds.
No, I'm going to say, like, how about these limes over here? Like, crush them up and drink some of that stuff. It's better than leeches. That's going to be my slogan. Chris Porro, MD, better than leeches.
Okay, here's an interesting fact I learned about leeches recently, right? Prior to modern barometric pressure gauges, leeches used to be used in meteorology to sense coming storms.
Yeah, you stick one on your forehead, and if it starts wiggling about, then you know that the pressure...
No,
so what does a leech? What does a leech do?
Leeches in little glass jars in a big circle of this device, right? And so the leeches, they would get aggravated because the storm's coming. Something in the air makes them aggravated.
So it's real.
Yeah, and so they would climb up the glass as best they could, which would ring a bell on the machine, and so they would come over. If a bunch of bells rang, they knew a storm was coming.
I mean, work with what you got,
Yeah.
Nobody had columns of mercury back then, I guess. So,
the leech is really undervalued. Like nowadays, leeches just lounge around in ponds, not doing any good at all. Back in those days, like leech was like very.
We had working leeches.
They were working for us.
Yeah, but there's a machine. This website that I was reading and stuff had a picture of the machine and everything. It was really fascinating.
I mean, do you know that maggots have come back?
Yes,
for
maggots are used.
Uses?
Yes, maggots are used to eat necrotic tissue. They're especially helpful against the flesh-eating bacteria.
Any minute, you guys are going to start talking about fecal transplants. I know it.
I was about.
I did it.
I was about to say that.
I was trying to avoid fecal transplants, and I went straight there.
You read my mind, Chuck.
It's science that's been proven to work, though.
It does.
It seems like it. And my favourite story about the man that they killed all the bacteria in his body with like antibiotics, and he had no motivation to do anything or go anywhere or do anything until they gave him a fecal transplant.
Ooh.
Poop might save you.
Then he started getting his mojo.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Having Annabelle fix my stomach. And so you laugh at that, but it was actually something that I was considering.
No,
I think. Yes, there's definitely some sort of transfer
happened.
that goes on from pregnancy. Like they affect your body, don't they? And in all sorts of weird ways. Yes, and some of those effects are sort of permanent.
I'm listening, Chris.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also the major changes that happen when you're pregnant. Like, so my wife or ex-wife now had allergies and stomach issues, and a lot of that cleared up after she gave birth to Naomi. So your body goes through this like transformation when you get pregnant.
Yes, you're like sharing a body with this other person that's growing inside you.
Yeah,
and then your bacteria, like the bacteria, must be affected by it too. And
That's my other recommendation.
It fixed my stomach, and it allowed me to eat dairy and red meat again.
That's
right, and you get all those pregnancy cravings. Women get those pregnancy cravings. So there's different bacteria now suddenly like wanting.
So that's the other thing.
I was craving.
Yes.
I'm gonna put that on my card. Like Chris Porro better than leeches. I recommend pregnancy, preferably by me. This is gonna be on my card.
Yeah, before you arrive down, because
pregnancy will fix things.
Well,
Chris was trying to explain to me why reading a book about pregnancy wasn't really going to give me the same idea.
It's already your own grandfather problem.
What's that?
If you go back in time, then it's the "Are you your own grandfather" problem.
What?
You are your own grandfather problem.
No, I got that part. I just didn't understand.
So they did an episode of Futurama about this, right? Where Fry ends up going back to Roswell, New Mexico with the crew. And he's like trying to protect his grandfather, from being destroyed. But his grandfather ends up getting killed. And he's like, wait a second, but I'm still here. Woohoo! That means I can sleep with this woman. She can't be my grandma. And he ends up becoming his own grandfather.
Oh, that's like the Marty McFly problem as well. Right?
Yeah. So great.
Is that who it was?
Back
to the Future, where he goes back and his mother falls in love with him.
Yeah, with I'm trying to remember her name. Leah Thompson.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, yes, of course they're famous for Howard the Duck.
Yes, for
if
getting
that was
very
weird, if that was
close
weird,
to having sex with the duck.
Yes, well, after possibly having sex with her son, having sex with the duck seemed positively like a positive step forward.
Yeah, an anthropomorphized duck at that.
I did like that film at the time because I had read Howard the Duck comics. I discovered Howard the Duck comics, and I really would love those when I found them.
What I remember is in the first 5 minutes when Howard's being sucked out through all the other apartments in the duck world, right? There is a naked duck in the bathtub, and you see duck tits.
Yeah. No.
I remember that.
No, it's quite impossible. I tried watching it not that long ago. I got about 20 minutes to the bit where they were she was getting all romantic with him in the bed, and I'm like, this ain't really got to watch anymore.
Yeah,
but I always like Jeffrey Jones. I like Jeffrey Jones in it too, but he also did something. I don't know what he did, but he also got cancelled, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, Jeffrey Jones, he had kiddie porn. And he's in jail.
God, it was that bad, yeah.
Yeah, he's still in jail. That's how bad it was. He's like going to be in there for life because of
that bad. Oh my God.
He had some really bad stuff, and he was distributing it around Hollywood to circles of people that enjoyed that kind of material and things like that. And he pled down. He had a plea deal, so that he pled guilty to the charges so that he would have life in prison instead of the death penalty.
Death penalty?
Yeah, for child porn. That's how bad it was because
I'm very against child porn, but death penalty is.
It was in California, so.
I thought Hollywood was easy on child porn.
Maybe it was down from life to 75 years or something consecutive life sentences or something like that. But he is never going to be out.
That's not fucking about. That's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, he's never going to be out. He's going to die before.
Wait, who is this?
Wow.
This is Principal Rooney in
Principal Rooney.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Well, he's not the principal. He's the dean of students or something, isn't he? He's like he has this.
I'm trying to think.
His
What
particular job is keeping the students.
The redhead
in.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Huh.
Yeah, he's also in Ravenous as like one of the cannibals.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I mean, I like him in a lot of movies, but
he was funny in Howard the Duck.
I
He was
can't
funny. He was
support
funny
him
as the Dark
anymore
Overlord of
because
the universe.
The man did bad things.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, well, I hate
about,
this
like,
subject. But
there's this
watch
whole
the
thing
fucking Jimmy Savile documentary about that guy, that British guy.
Oh yeah, that.
Like I grew up with him. I mean, that's all how it was.
I didn't know who he was until that documentary came out.
Yeah.
There was a guy I went to high school with that hung out in the same group of friends that I hung out with, named Mike Garza, that became a music teacher to the school district where I used to go to school, K through 12, right? And so he was a music teacher to K through 12 students. He is now in jail for having relationships with several of his students. And like this is a guy I used to hang out with in high school. Yeah. It's pretty messed up. Like I can find an article about him if you want, but I don't want to.
I do not.
No,
I mean,
no,
I know
don't.
there's,
Yeah,
I know there's pedophiles out there and stuff like that, and I just
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a lawyer, and he's in the UK, like criminal, he's often prosecuting these sort of people. That's his sort of everyday job sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ian plays in a band where one of the guys is a detective, and that's mostly what he does. Is he goes after kiddie porn and the people who have it, the people who distribute it, and stuff like that. In the case of Jones, he had a plea deal, and he gave up a lot of people in those circles for that plea deal.
Like Hollywood people.
Yeah, like Hollywood people. Like so.
I mean,
That's why people like Bryan Singer, you haven't seen a movie from in a while, is because they were one of the people named in Jones's lists.
I mean, there's this whole thing about like all these pedophile rings in Hollywood that's been going on for decades. Was it like one of those child stars talked about it? And
I don't think you can just say Hollywood. I think amongst the elite and powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But I think one thing that's gotten a lot of coverage is the elite and powerful of like Hollywood in particular, like certain stars coming out. Who was it? Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Talking about Harry Weinstein long before all this stuff came out about Weinstein, and people called him a liar.
Well, yeah.
And then all this stuff comes out, and he's like, "See, I'm not a liar."
I mean, so many people knew about Weinstein. I feel like for decades they knew about it, but he was making all this money and he was, making certain people's careers, and nobody wanted to risk their career. So,
yeah. At the same time, I think that the people that he was making money were the shareholders. Not the actors, not the
but he did make
producers, the writers.
I think he did make some actors like careers, and then there's like Cosby.
Yeah, because they slept with him.
It was like Cosby, like this was kind of like a known thing for decades before there were any like real allegations, and he got dragged into court. That was going on for decades.
Well, and don't forget that Michael Jackson had several run-ins with the law about his his exposure and experience with young boys. And I mean the last one, the televised one, where he was getting on top of his car, is that
what you're talking about? Leaving Neverland? That one?
Yeah. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about like his last trial before he died.
Yeah, I mean,
that one was televised, but there is a lot of trials behind closed doors.
All I gotta say is, if you're a parent, here's my advice:
keep your kid away from celebrities.
Anytime a celebrity says, anytime a celebrity says to you, "Hey, you know what? Why doesn't your kid spend the weekend with me? I've got this great like kids park. Then they're just gonna have so much fun. and it'll just be me and a bunch of like, kids. Probably don't do it. No real reason to do
it's
that.
all throughout everything. I mean, and it's part of human nature, these things, and you have to be ever vigilant about it, really. I mean, it's all professions. It's not just celebrities. It's any profession.
Well,
there's particularly professions that want to work with kids or entertain kids.
Well, okay, so. Hey, let's not talk about stranger danger here, because that downplayed the danger of basically most people who are assaulted when they're a child are assaulted, whether physically or sexually, by a family member or a neighbor or somebody who is known to them. Yeah. Someone in the clergy, someone like that is supposed to be a trusted figure. And stranger danger downplayed that, so it was less reported than it was versus some creepy guy who may have waved at a kid.
I'm amazed at how long this stuff goes on before like somebody comes forward, like
Well, the thing is, I think they sort of say things to the kids that make the kids not speak up.
I mean, it's crazy how long.
Part of it is educating kids that to speak up.
That's what I tell my daughter. I say, like, anytime an adult, and I don't care if they're your teacher, I don't care if they're your counselor, I don't care who they are. Anytime an adult says to you, you know what, let's keep this secret between us, let's not tell your parents, even if it's not of a sexual nature.
If you're ever telling your kid, like, let's keep a secret, you probably do.
I'm like, wrong. You know what, there should be nothing
unless it's
that
like we're planning a surprise party
for
mom, but even then they'll probably blab it.
Well, because that's how it starts. Like, I wasn't hip to this until another parent, like a mother said, like, people, like, they groom kids before. It's not like they just meet your kid and start molesting them. They groom them
they groom them for a while.
Yeah. So there's all these little steps involved in the process, and one of these steps might be
this is just part of our game that we've been playing.
And we don't need to tell your parents about this. Let's keep this out, right? And that's like maybe a step along the way. So, that's what I've always told my daughter, who, like, I think she's probably too old and too well informed to fall for any of this stuff. But I said, adults are clever, they've got, the decades of experience on kids. So
yeah, adults aren't that clever. It's just that kids are pretty stupid.
So I'm looking at the time for you guys. It's got to be 9:12.
Yeah, it's time for bed. Yeah, it's time. I really should have stopped a while ago. And because we literally have a show in 12 hours.
Yeah. So look at all this money we raised talking about pedophiles.
We don't. Well, it's supposed to be. Well, it's the final morning, so we have to do the 2 hours. But we'll come back. We'll do some more. All right. We'll see you in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll play more videos in the morning. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yay! Bye, Chris.
I'm not doing